Fuel you once, fuel you forever.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Visit satstoday.ca for the voices of Saskatchewan, your news, ag, and sports portal. Think of it like a newspaper from the old days, without the inky hands. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sportscage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Well, it's Tegan Whitco back with you on this Monday, your Monday host of the Sports Cage. Joining me, of course, Mr. Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders, and Colson Schultz. He is keeping us in line. He's making sure that we're on the stream at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on your radio at 620 CKRM. Now, all of our guests will be joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. It is the pizza that is known worldwide for a reason, loaded with toppings of Western Canadian ingredients and always cooked to perfection. Dave, I must admit, I had some delicious pizza last night.
Why wouldn't you?
It was Super Bowl Sunday.
Absolutely. The number 2, right?
Yeah.
Pepperoni, bacon, and mushroom.
I did not get that one.
Oh.
We had a vegetarian friend over, so we had a good old classic cheese pizza. I forgot how much I love cheese pizza.
Cheese pizza.
Like, you can't go wrong.
The choice of 7-year-olds worldwide.
But with the marinara sauce, that made me feel classy.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, you got to get that extra marinara sauce. What'd you think of the game last night? The big game, the Super Bowl game.
Super Bowl game? You know what? If you're a fan of defense, I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I kept waiting for New England to figure it out, but they just never did.
You
know what I mean?
How's Barney doing today? Have we checked in on him?
Well, I noticed that he took it down.
The flag is gone.
Yeah.
Ooh, Colson, do you know where that flag went? Did he burn
It got
it?
folded up.
It was
Put
folded
back in
up.
storage.
Okay, so he's not one of those fans who will take it and burn it? Oh.
That's the lowest you can go when you burn the flag. But yeah,
you know what? I don't care.
I think there's still a TB jersey behind you, though, Dave. Watch out.
Is there?
Oh, there is.
There is, yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? That was from a winning Patriots team, so.
But boy, there are a lot of people that did not like the game.
I fell asleep in the third quarter.
Did you?
I did.
Wow.
It was not great. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I was very intrigued by the game in general, but it was not that entertaining.
See, this may be, I don't know why it is, but this is going to sound ludicrous. Mm-hmm. My favorite quarter in a football game is the third quarter. Because the teams have gone out in the first half, and they've done what they've done, right?
And you know what to expect.
Yeah. And then in the third quarter, they come out, and you see where their coaching staff has gone to work, right? With the adjustments.
You can see the conversations that have been had in the locker room over halftime.
Yeah.
I don't think it did much.
No, I think a lot of the guys were checking out Bad Bunny, actually. I think that was probably what happened at halftime, because it just didn't. I just kept waiting for those adjustments to come from New England, because it looked like they were close and it looked like they were on the verge of doing something. And I think Drake May had a big case of I don't want to say the yips, but I think he was real nervous. Mm-hmm. And just there were plays that were there to be made. Chris Collingsworth called him out over and over and over again, as well as the offensive line.
Understandably.
But yeah, I just kept waiting for New England to put something together. Like, don't get me wrong, they were able to get a touchdown, but it primarily, I would suggest, was because of Seattle playing some prevent defense on that drive, which I was like, wow, why would you give up anything? But that's just me.
I mean, Drake May also couldn't feel his shoulder because it was all shot up.
Excuses.
I'm just saying, if you're trying to pinpoint, throw the ball 30, 40 yards downfield, but you can't actually feel your shoulder when you're doing it, that's probably not going to help. And like, there was some of those throws where it just that didn't look like an NFL quarterback throw. And I was like, something's not right here.
Have you found, I was trying to find when they shot it up, right? Because again, the downplay all week long, you're not going to go ahead and divulge any injuries. Did you see anything anywhere?
Not.
Like, was it done at halftime? Was it done pregame and halftime? Was it, you know what I mean?
I haven't found anything like that. I'm presuming it was just pregame, and then depending on how much, you'd have to do it again at halftime. But like, they got going, and then this interception that he throws in the 8 minutes left in the fourth. Yeah, that one's kind of like, that was the actual nail in the coffin there.
That's when you knew it was done.
Yeah, and it was so, again, the throw felt so off because he had guys there. He threw it well behind them or to the side, and their Seahawks were just there to catch it.
See, but, okay, so here's Dave, the quarterback analyst, with no, again, I'm going on.
I think we have a guy coming up who will be a little bit better at it.
Maybe.
I'm sure. But I'm just throwing this out there. But like any coaching clinic that I've gone to for football, right? Look where the front foot lands, right? That front foot is going to direct the throw. That is where the accuracy comes from, right? So in the weight transfer, and if you watch his front foot, it wasn't the fact that, again, he was pointing, he was targeting there. He just didn't make the right read, in my opinion. Now, again, the shoulder probably hurt, and I get that, right? But just to me, he looked confident in where he wanted to throw the ball, but that was wrong, right? He needed to go way the other way, because I think he might have actually overthrown the receiver that was underneath on that, as opposed to the guy that was cutting to the post and going across the field. But that's just me.
At the end of the day, we had this conversation before we came to air. Luke Mullender has said it so many times. Defense wins championships. The defense won that game last night.
Yeah, for sure they did.
And that's really what it boils down to, I think. And I know Patriots fans are still going to argue me on that. And that includes Barney. But it's okay. I'll fight him on that all day.
I think Barney's mentality these whole playoffs has been, yeah, this is fun. We're lucky to be here. None of us expected this.
No, right.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Did it finally catch up to New England? Right? They had the easiest schedule statistically.
Well, yeah, they faced how many, like, interim head coaches?
Yeah.
Or new head coaches?
Absolutely, right?
I think
they had a soft schedule.
From their schedule, I think there's like 3 or 4 head coaches that haven't been fired or stepped down or relieved of duty or whatever. And one of the coaches left is the New York Jets head coach. So does that count?
No, it doesn't.
So, yeah.
They had it pretty easy.
Sure.
But is there an argument to be made, though, that like, you're playing National Football League teams? Nothing is a walk.
That, and again, they played the first, second, and fifth best defenses to get to the Super Bowl. Sure, there was other things going on there, like Bo Nix being hurt.
Yeah.
And
which is a huge factor, not to be discounted.
And C.J. Stroud not helping his defense out at all. But still, they had to get through those defenses. Seattle, I think, was just the most balanced team they ended up running into, where the defense was really good and the offense didn't let the defense down.
I think New England also caught a huge break in Denver.
Oh,
well, absolutely they did.
Yeah, we'll hear from Broncos fans for like the next 20 years of what if.
What if?
Well, yeah.
There's always those questions, though. It doesn't matter. I'm wearing a Bengals sweater right now. There's always the what if questions. Like, come on. I know what that's like.
I won't question your taste.
Whoa.
I'm just saying.
Dave Thomas, hey, wow.
From the Dallas Cowboys, I get it.
Yeah, you're a Cowboys fan, buddy.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'll be quiet.
We do already have some comments coming in here on the YouTube stream. Chris saying it was an awful game. He also did not enjoy the halftime show. That is the question that we're asking right now on the poll at sportscage.com. What did you think of Bad Bunny? Some surprise guests that came in. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Regardless, we want to hear your input.
I felt like really cool dad.
Did you?
During halftime. I'm like, hey, that's Lady Gaga. And then, hey, look, it's Ricky Martin. I knew right off the hop. I didn't have to Google. I was smarter than Google.
So you felt cool because you recognized Lady Gaga?
Yeah, pretty much. Nobody else did in my viewing region.
I mean, you know what? I don't think it was bad. We're going to get to that a little bit later on in the show, though. I think we need to dive into that.
Can we talk then about the wedding that happened during halftime?
That was a real wedding.
It was a real wedding.
Allegedly, that couple reached out to Bad Bunny saying, will you come to our wedding? Which is something that I'm getting married this October. And I have actually considered reaching out to all these celebrities. Because if they don't come, I got nothing to lose here. But you can send me a gift. Bad Bunny took it a step further and actually invited them to get married on the field.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Turned it around. That's the story that I was told. And
I thought that was pretty cool. Yes, that was Lady Gaga. Jeffrey on our stream right now is asking, that was Lady Gaga?
One for Dave.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Dave Thomas, you're our biggest fan.
Thank you.
So what did you think about the Super Bowl halftime show? You can let us know at sportscage.com. We have so much to talk about here. My goodness. I'm also really excited for this next conversation that's coming up here. 3:30, Jamie Campbell from Sportsnet, Blue Jays on Sportsnet, is going to be joining us. He was in town this past weekend.
Very cool. Yeah.
He was in town this past summer as well. You might remember he joined us for our Rider Broadcast Network Smokeout game, as we so famously refer to it as.
The 8-hour pregame show.
The 8-hour pregame show to a game that never happened on that day. It took place the following day.
It did take place the next day.
Yep. Yeah, that was the Calgary game. Mm-hmm. First loss of the season, too, for the Riders, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to have him in. We're not going to be talking specifically football with him, but he was in town with Tyler Heidemann. He was in Swift Current, Weyburn. He promotes this WCBL in a big way, and we're really excited for him to be doing that. Maybe we can hook him up with some tickets to come back for a Regina Red Sox game this summer.
I'm curious if they checked out the KFC buffet.
And
there were how many trips?
Every time we bring up Weyburn.
Yeah.
That has to be part of it. It's your hometown, and that's the one thing that we bring up is the KFC buffet.
Yep.
There's got to be some other big moments there, but that's fine.
Hey, there's some other pretty famous people. I'll tell you that.
Speaking of famous people, I didn't expect this to be coming, but Buck Martinez retired on Friday.
I didn't realize that he was 77.
Neither did I. And
Buck was 70.
He's iconic with Blue Jays baseball.
Yeah.
He's the play-by-play voice. He has been ever since I've followed the team.
Yep.
That is a big loss for Blue Jays fans, in my opinion.
You know, it's kind of, how do you word it? It's really an interesting story in the way that he dealt with adversity. Because Buck Martinez, right, so he was a player, then he signed right from player.
He was a manager.
Broadcaster, then he became the manager, right?
Yeah.
And every manager, every coach is always hired to be fired, but there were some definite hard feelings from Buck and the Blue Jays organization when that went down. And I don't know how they mended the fence, whatever happened, but again, Buck Martinez sucked it up and came back to broadcasting. He worked at ESPN for a while, and then the Blue Jays had an opportunity, and so he came back with the Blue Jays, which I think was just amazing, right? Like, that's a human story right there. Like, how many of us would hold a grudge and say, heck with you, no way?
And Buck Martinez is one of those baseball voices that I put up there with Vince Scully. And maybe it's because I'm a little bit biased, because I'm Canadian, I'm a big Jays fan.
Yeah.
But he, I think, is up there in terms of his legacy and what he brought to the game of baseball.
I would suggest that Tom Cheek, Jerry Howarth, and Buck Martinez, in no particular order, are those three that are synonymous, I would suggest.
An absolute legend that unfortunately will be on his way out following the Blue Jays World Series run and losing in Game 7 to the LA Dodgers, which is unfortunate. Like, how cool would it have been if the Jays won that game and he could go out on that high note?
Exactly, right? I agree with you. That would have been the storybook ending, right?
Yeah.
Right there.
Fairy tale.
Very curious if they're going to do anything or not for Buck to salute him.
I think they need to.
But remember when he went he missed a big chunk of the season a couple of years ago, getting cancer treatment.
Yeah.
And then he came back, and boy, did they have a welcome back for him. All the players came out of the dugouts. He didn't know it was going to happen. Dan Schulman stepped aside from the mic and just kind of let the crowd take over, which gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. Saying that, he said that was all he ever needed. He didn't need anything ever again to be acknowledged. I'm curious. I'm sure they'll do something, but it's the 50th anniversary of the Blue Jays this year.
And I don't think it's necessarily what he wants. I think it's what the fan base wants and what the franchise wants. And he has been such a massive piece of that organization. I would be shocked if they didn't do more for him.
No, I think you're right. I bet he'll be level of excellence, I'm sure, at some point.
He has to be. It's Buck Martinez.
Yes, that's right.
We are going to talk to Jamie Campbell about that a little bit later on here. We're about 15 minutes away from that conversation. Also, we do have, right after 4 o'clock, Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation is going to drop by to talk a little bit of CFL free agency moves. It is the off season.
Yes.
And you and I were also discussing this earlier. Now, here's the thing. What is the point of that tampering window if all of the news is already coming out? I want to ask him about that.
Well, so that the tampering window,
the legal tampering window is happening right now.
The CFL negotiation window for free agents, whatever you want to call it. It's closed, so players now officially can sign with teams as of Wednesday the 10th. But you're right. What's the point?
What's the point? Just open it up.
As AJ Jakubek told us, and you can go back to sportscage.com and listen to that podcast, as AJ was saying, well, you know what, maybe you get the news cycle twice for free agents, right? Because really you're signing and announcing signings twice, even if you're not really officially announcing a signing the first time around, if you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that. That makes sense. But at the end of the day, it's almost like, okay, well, why are we just pulling this veil over the fans' eyes?
True.
Let's just be transparent. Let's just call it what it is. We're making these moves. Let's just announce it. Why hold it back?
Exactly, right?
You and I said the word alleged how many times last week?
I know, we're not doing that again this week. We heard you loud and clear, Saskatchewan.
And yes, there, as Jeffrey said on our YouTube chat here, there are still some signings out there to be had. Absolutely. We're not done. We're far from the start of the season. Right. But I mean, the ones that have already come to fruition, just announce them.
The one thing that stuck kind of with me with what Darian Durant told us last week, and it stuck in my brain, like, so the money, right? So your big pot of money is the biggest right at the start, right?
Yeah.
And then you start dwindling it down. And I'm like, oh, that's right. That's why guys are going to agree real quick, real early, right? Before it lingers on, because the pot has shrunk.
Well, you don't want to test that free agency for too long.
True. No, absolutely. You're bang on. But it depends on the sport, though.
That's right. Football is much different than, let's say, hockey.
Well, hockey happens July 1st, predominantly, right?
Mm-hmm.
The big names come off the board July 1st. What about Major League Baseball, though?
Oh, man.
The season ends in October, early November, and Bo Bichette didn't sign until, a couple of weeks ago, right? Like, he was just sitting there. Tucker's sitting there.
But there were so many conversations happening behind the scenes.
Oh, for sure, right? But again, it just doesn't seem to have the urgency. What's the difference in all of those?
Is it length of the season?
No. Oh, it could be. That could be. Sorry, I don't mean to shoot you down right there. No. Who am I?
I'm just suggesting that could be a piece of it.
Yeah, for sure. CFL, right, we talked about. NHL, both have salary caps.
Good point.
Major League Baseball has a luxury tax system. And there's an official word. It's not a salary cap, right, because it's definitely not a cap.
Nope.
But, again, there's only so much money to go around in those markets. Major League Baseball, if you're willing to pay, you're willing to get the guy.
But then you also look at those tax-free, quote-unquote, markets, right?
Yes.
The ones that are a little bit more appealing, where you retain more of that money.
True. For the players, absolutely.
Yeah, so that also definitely plays a role in some decision-making processes.
Well, and I'm really curious, right, with the whole salary cap idea or the luxury tax system or whatever, right? Major League Baseball apparently is considering this. Because, right, every year you have to be able to go to the league's fans and say, you've got a legitimate shot at winning. And if I'm a fan of the Kansas City Royals or the Tampa Bay Rays or the Montreal Expos, I don't know that I could say that, right? Because you knew when guys could go, they were gone.
True.
I'm just saying, right? I don't know. It's an interesting debate.
Off seasons are always interesting to follow. And there is no shortage of news, especially when it comes to the CFL. And obviously, we are looking at the Saskatchewan Roughriders here at home, who we knew we weren't going to be bringing back all those key players. So there are going to be some adjustments made to that roster. And I'm interested to see what Justin Dunk thinks about that and where some of the other players have gone. Because there's been a lot of movement. We're also going to talk about Trey Ford. I think he found his home.
Well, again, I think
Do you
Hamilton,
disagree?
No. I think Hamilton has been very interested in Trey Ford for a very long time. And I think that maybe much longer than some would believe, from what I said. Again, like I said, I heard rumblings when we were in Edmonton 2 seasons ago that Hamilton had a deal on the table prior to the 2024 season with Edmonton, but the Elks...
The Elk.
Never. Somebody in Edmonton that has a large role said, no, we're not making that deal.
Okay, fair.
Apparently.
We'll talk a little CFL offseason free agency news. In addition to that, we also have your Clutch Performer coming up around 4:30 this afternoon. Darian Durant is going to be swinging in to talk some football. I'm sure he has some opinions on last night's game.
For sure. And I can't wait to hear about his fellow North Carolina guy, right? He's been a big Drake May supporter all season long. And again, if you're playing hurt, that sucks. But also, was he put in a position to succeed is what I want to know from Darian.
And as someone who has never played professional baseball or professional football, I'm like, well, why would you play hurt? But I get it. At the end of the day, you want to win. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate to see, though. It is unfortunate to see. It would have been nice to have a little bit more of a competitive matchup last night in Super Bowl 60.
Oh, I think it was competitive. It was just
it could have been more competitive.
Dominant.
Yeah.
Dominant by Seattle. And like I said, I don't know that the coaching staff for the New England Patriots put him in the best spot. I could be wrong. That's why we'll digress to Darian to find out what he says, because he'll have a way different lens than I will. I've got the Madden Football L3.
Well, I was going to say, their other options at quarterback were Joshua Dobbs and Tommy DeVito. So,
Tommy DeVito's won games in the NFL, or game in the NFL.
Singular.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Josh Dobbs
any
has
relation to
the
Danny?
best nickname.
Any relation to Danny DeVito?
I don't think so, but he is Italian. That New York Giants fans loved him because of that. But
they did love him because of that. You're right.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe the New York...
And his agent, his Italian mafia boss style agent.
Who is that? Oh, yes. You ring the... Oh, great point, Colson.
And then Joshua Dobbs, a great nickname, the Pastronaut, because if you didn't know, he is also an astronaut.
Yeah, that is cool.
Which I'm like...
Iconic.
Yeah, two great personalities there. Not going to give you great odds to win a football game, let alone the Super Bowl, I don't think. So...
I don't think either of them took a lot of reps in practice.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We'll get Darian Durant. We'll get his take on that a little bit later on. So that's coming up just after 5 o'clock. Also, Pat's Chat. I had the pleasure of being at both of the home games this weekend. Mm-hmm. There was maybe not the greatest officiating on Saturday night, but I can keep all of my opinions.
Listen to you go.
Well, I think there was some non-calls in that game on Saturday night.
Wow.
Ken Schneider also said it on the post-game show with Dante DeCaria right here on 620 CKRM. Well, and that's what I mean. Like, I'm not the only one going out here on a limb saying maybe the officiating could have been better. At least when I was driving home following the game, I was thinking to myself, okay, so I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one who was thinking that. He just solidified my opinions. But we will have Patch Chat coming up. We do not have Ken Schneider on the show today, but we do have Zach Lansard. I know, we didn't want to do that, but we will have Zach Lansard coming up ahead of that Prospects game, and I think they also had a little gathering for the Super Bowl last night between the Pats players.
I think they did. I think they had some Western pizza brought in.
Ooh, I wonder what kind of Western pizza.
Number 2, that's all you need. You don't need to look any further on the menu.
I feel like they're more pepperoni pizza kind of guys.
Yeah, probably.
Because that's what, chicken something? Chicken barbecue? What? Number 2?
No, it's pepperoni, bacon, and mushroom.
Oh.
The only 3 things you ever need on a pizza.
I don't want vegetables on my pizza. That's ridiculous.
Okay.
No, I just want all of the cheese, okay? Speaking of Super Bowl Sunday, huge day for ordering in, getting takeout. Do you want to guess what the calorie intake is for the average person on Super Bowl Sunday? I have some stats here, and this is from a North American survey, and it's a pretty wide range. What do you think is the lower level? How many calories does the average NFL fan take in on Super Bowl Sunday?
I'm afraid to know. Is it?
It's more than my daily caloric intake. I will tell you that right now.
Are there 5 digits or 4?
There's 5. Well, the higher end is 5.
Higher end is 5, so 15,000?
No, you actually shot a little bit high. Anywhere between 2,400 and 11,000 calories.
I did shoot high.
You did shoot a bit high.
I go big or I go home.
Would you have like a poutine, some chicken wings, and pizza last night?
No, just pizza.
Just pizza?
Just pizza.
Just Western pizza.
Just Western pizza. And it was actually the first time, believe this or not, the first time in 15 years that I watched the Super Bowl live.
What were you doing the other years?
When you're a hockey parent or a hockey coach, games or practices genuinely fall on Super Bowl. So when you're the coach, you can't really just ditch it. So
well, you can.
I know, but when you're the coach, you really can't. So for the first time in 15 years since my kids started minor hockey, I got to see the Super Bowl live. I know, it's phenomenal. It was amazing.
That's a pretty big win. And it was a sleeper of a game.
Yeah, I know. Thanks to Hockey Regina for coming through for us, but boy,
Oh, and it was the worst Super Bowl in the past decade. I'm so sorry to hear that.
And
but you know what?
I tried so hard to find the American commercials, too. Nothing.
I found them. They weren't that good.
Oh, fair enough.
So you didn't miss out.
I heard they were not very inspiring this year.
They weren't that great.
No?
No. But Super Bowl Sunday, calories don't count, so I hope everybody pigged out yesterday. Colson, what did you eat yesterday for the big game?
I had some pretty darn good ginger beef.
Okay. I might need some recommendations after the show. I love a good ginger beef.
Yeah, otherwise it was just, chips, pops, the usual. But
I mean, you can't go wrong.
Exactly.
But another Super Bowl is come and gone.
You know what's really good you should try? If you're up for, again, I try to make things, they don't turn out very well. You know what pigs in a blanket is? Pig in a blanket is, right? That's a hot dog with dough around it. Take pretzel dough, and then you wrap it around, and then you're making pig in a blanket, basically. But then you add that salt on and then you air fry it.
Oh, okay.
You're going to be in for fun.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
My go-tos are usually like a spinach dip.
That's not bad.
Bacon-wrapped chicken bites.
Yeah.
With a nice brown sugar, cumin, like whatever, some sort of spicy coating on it. I was too lazy this weekend.
Fair enough.
So did not do that. That's why we just ordered in.
Completely understand.
You can't go wrong with all of the good Super Bowl recipes, though. We might have to ask a couple of our guests about what they munched on last night, but you know what? I think that we are ready to take a quick break pretty soon here. As I mentioned, lots of guests coming up on the show today. So we do have Jamie Campbell joining us here in just a few more moments. We're going to talk a little bit about his trip to Saskatchewan this weekend with Tyler Heineman. We're also going to talk about some Blue Jays offseason moves. Maybe some misses. Buck Martinez announcing his retirement. Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation stopping by to talk about CFL free agency in the offseason. Your clutch performer, Darian Durant, as we mentioned as well. If you have any questions for any of the guests that I just mentioned, we're always open to suggestions. So you can always reach out on that Prairie Land Rentals text line. Whatever you need to get the job done, Prairie Land Rentals probably has it. Also, an official Husqvarna snow thrower dealer. Deal with the owner at 600 Albert Street. And the phone number as well, 306-936-6262. So if you have a question for Darian or Jamie Campbell or Justin Dunk, or maybe a suggestion for the clutch performer, I don't know, maybe your kid absolutely killed it on the ice rink this weekend.
Like that idea?
Yeah, I'd love to hear about it. We can definitely share that with the rest of our office here and the rest of our audience. So the Daily Monday Sportscage show is brought to you by Sask Today, the voices of Saskatchewan. Visit Sask Today, Saskatchewan's official online news, egg, and sports portal. Think of it like a newspaper from the old days, without the inky hands. And we're happy to deliver all of that information direct to your inbox. Same goes for the Sportscage Insider Report. You can get signed up for that right now at sportscage.com. And if you miss any of our guests, if maybe you're in the car right now, taking a bit of a drive, you know that you're going to be missing out on Jamie Campbell a little bit later on. You can always go back and listen in podcast form wherever you happen to get your podcasts. And as I mentioned, Jamie Campbell from Sportsnet Blue Jays coverage is going to be coming up next on the Sports Cage. So let's take a quick break and we'll be back on the other side. It's the Sports Cage on the home of local sports, 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.
If your garage door is running a little rough, you don't need to be talked into something that you don't need.
Sir, what you need is the new gigantic-esque, voluminous, astronomical, ginormous, gargantuan, exquisite air garage.
Just call Busy Bee Doors, the local experts who have been in business for many, many doors. They can fix or replace any commercial or garage door.
Wait. With me, you get a little garage door keychain, please.
Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists.
Back to our regular spot, Pump Jacks Cathedral.
You know, I thought Pump Jacks was a kind of boot polish till last month.
What are you getting?
Kerwin's crispy ribs and a cold pint of local craft. Crispy, meaty, beautiful.
You had me at meaty.
Plus, we got live music on the weekends, big screens. This place is basically my second marriage.
And way cheaper than the first.
On the corner of Albert and 13th, Pump Jack's Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. Come early, stay late. The place where friends meet.
If it's happening in sports in Saskatchewan, we've got it covered on Sportscage. Be part of the show. Call 936-6262 or toll free 1-866-767-0620. On your radio at 620 CKRM and online at sportscage.com.
Well, appreciate you making the time. I am your Monday host of the Sports Cage, Tegan Whitco, here with you. And, of course, we also have Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders, joining me. Colson Schultz behind the board, keeping us on the air at 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com, Twitter, and, of course, our YouTube account as well. I am looking forward to getting into this next discussion, but if you do have a question for our next guest, if you want to join in the conversation, Prairie Land Rentals text line is 306-936-6262. I am so excited to welcome our next guest, Jamie Campbell from Sportsnet Blue Jays Baseball. He is an analyst, and he was just in the province this weekend. Jamie, thank you so much for taking the time.
Tegan, it's lovely to hear your voice once again. And Dave, nice to speak with you as well. I missed you the last time I was at a Riders game, one that wasn't actually played, but, you know, that kind of thing happens in Saskatchewan. So does losing one's voice, which apparently I just did while I was in your province.
Oh, no. Did we have you cheering too loud? How was your visit to Weyburn and Swift Current this weekend?
It was lovely, but I came back to snowbound Ontario sounding this way, so perhaps that gives you an indication of how much fun we had while we were there.
I think you just should have had more gravy at the KFC buffet in Weyburn.
Which we avoided. Quite frankly, we avoided the place. I've been there once. I had indigestion forever. I'm not going back.
Hey, they're not a sponsor of the show. It's okay, Jamie.
Okay.
But I do want to know, what was your trip to Saskatchewan like this weekend? Aside from losing your voice, why was it so important for you to come here and support the WCBL in both, Weyburn and Swift Current?
Well, first of all, I brought Blue Jays catcher Tyler Heineman along with me, and I never knew when I called him at home in San Diego that I'd be taking him somewhere that was warmer than San Diego, because I got off the plane, walked out into the fresh Saskatchewan air, and could not believe what I was feeling. Otherwise, we had a blast. The WCBL is very close to my heart, and they have such a passion for baseball, not only throughout the league, but in Weyburn and in Swift Current. And to be able to take an active member of the 2025 American League champion Blue Jays was such a joy for me, because, the people that we got to spend time with, and that was very meaningful time, very up close and personal time, whether it was during the event or for the hours that followed after it was over, just being able to hear what they have to say about what happened and the dramatic loss to the Dodgers in the World Series and why things happened the way they did. Was so special. And you know what? We put some money in the pockets of two ball clubs that have been around for a long time and are important to the league, and we're very proud to have done that as well.
How long? It's interesting to me. Again, I got my start in broadcasting, pushing buttons in the Weyburn, Saskatchewan radio station for Tom Cheek and Jerry Howarth, as again we were part of the Blue Jays radio network back in the day. You have become that voice now for a new generation that is synonymous with the Toronto Blue Jays. What is it like when fans come up and meet you? I know my kids, for example, can't believe seeing Jamie Campbell in Saskatchewan with a Toronto Blue Jay.
It is an absolute honor, Dave. I'm sure you feel it yourself. My first Blue Jays game was in April of 1977. About 2 weeks after they'd made their first appearance in an iconic opener against the Chicago White Sox. I was at the second homestand of the franchise's history, and I was 9 years old at the time, and it effectively changed my life. It certainly altered the direction of a 9-year-old's life. I didn't know it would end up this way. But that 9-year-old still exists inside me, so there's not a moment at the Rogers Centre or back in our Toronto studios that I don't feel grateful just to be there. even at age 58, even now, 22 years into being part of the broadcast team on Sportsnet. So I freely give my time as much as I can to people who appreciate it as much as I do.
You know, you were in Regina this summer. Obviously, you mentioned that you were part of our smoked out game broadcast, the one that we do not like to speak of as much.
And Tegan, I was 4 beers deep, too, when I joined you.
Hey, you were still one hell of an interview, Jamie Campbell. I am not going to ever turn you away. You can have 5, 6, 10 beers.
Yeah.
Well, we did. We absolutely did. But you actually went to a game here in Regina the next day, if I'm not mistaken, and that is the league-winning Regina Red Sox team. So are we going to get you back for a game this upcoming summer? Good luck.
I got a story. My stepson, as I call him, he's not really my stepson, but he's my son's best friend, is actually playing this year in the WCBL for an Alberta-based team. So, unfortunately, my WCBL trip this year will not see me in Saskatchewan because I just feel, in case this is the one and only year he ends up playing in the league, I can't miss it.
So I can't bribe you with a Red Sox jersey?
Well, you know what? I have some people telling me that there's going to be some serious renovation to the ballpark in Regina, if not reconstruction somewhere else. You know, a brand new facility probably coming in the next goodness knows how long. So I'd almost like to return and see the newer venue to see the defending WCBL champions.
Okay, I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
You've obviously seen a lot of baseball. Where does the Western Canadian Baseball League fit in? To me, it's just pure passion, pure pride, and guys giving it their all is the way that I would describe it to someone. What about you, who've seen a lot of baseball at a lot of different levels?
You will get that in any collegiate league because these are kids that are still at the point of dreaming about the possibility that they might end up at a high level, whether that's affiliated baseball, professional baseball, or even the major league level. And this year we saw, for example, a kid by the name of Jacob Melton, who played for the Okotoks Dogs, playing in the big leagues. We may well see others rise to that point. A kid from Red Deer by the name of Nathan Flewelling, who was a top draft pick of the Tampa Bay Rays, is really soaring through their system. So these kids still dream of the possibility that they can get to the major leagues. So the effort is going to be magnificent all the time, one would imagine. What I love about it, and I said this to our crowds in Weyburn and our crowds in Swift Current, is that the importance of the opportunity to go to a ball game for a community like those two is so critical, right? I love the chance to go to the ballpark here in Toronto, and of course I'm working the broadcast, so there's a need for me to be there. But, you know, if I lived elsewhere, I would find a team to support. And quite frankly, through my summer, I try to drive around the province of Ontario and see other teams in lower leagues play. There's a team here in Ontario, the Welland Jackfish. I've gone to see them many times. The Kitchener Panthers, for example. And I just think it's wonderful for a community to have a local team, so that on that summer night when you want to go and hang out with friends, watch a ball game, eat a hot dog, drink a cold beer, you have that chance. And that's why I felt it was so important to go to both Weyburn and Swift Current to help support their teams from a financial standpoint so they can continue to provide that opportunity to the people of their respective cities.
Jamie, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about Buck Martinez. He announced on Friday that he is retiring. He's hanging up the headphones. He is done. He has been such a defining voice of the Toronto Blue Jays for so long, a cherished presence in that booth, and his final game being Game 7 of the World Series where the Jays lost to the Dodgers. What type of legacy do you feel that he is leaving behind for Blue Jays fans?
Well, I imagine we will see his name up on the level of excellence very soon. This has happened unfortunately, earlier than I thought it would. Buck, I think, is turning 77, if he isn't 77 already. I don't know that specifically, but I do know that, it gets harder to travel the way Buck has been traveling as the years go on. He's had a massive health scare. His wife, Arlene's had one too, and maybe they're just thinking they've got several good years. Why not relax and enjoy the years that they have left? Because baseball takes a toll, right? It gets in your blood, and it's every day. And the older you get, I would guess, the harder it is to commit to the everydayness of baseball. So I'm grateful and glad that they're going to get that chance to enjoy their years together. I will miss Buck for a lot of reasons. One, he's a fountain of information with respect to the last, 50 or 60 years of Major League Baseball. He played against seemingly everybody, certainly played against all of my childhood stars. He was a roommate of George Brett's when he played in Kansas City. He played against Roberto Clemente. I mean, he's been in professional baseball since the year I was born, 1967. So that's a heck of a resume. But more to that, he's just a friend who is a friendly voice whenever I would show up at the ballpark. We all have a text chain that decides each game who's going to order the Starbucks. And I know exactly what he drinks at Starbucks. And I tend to, it's funny, he's a contemporary. He's and I hate to use the term, a coworker, but I've been in awe of him for the last 16 years that we've worked together, because as a very young man, I went to Exhibition Stadium to watch him play along with the rest of the Blue Jays. So for me, it's been a privilege. I know for so many people in this country who love his voice and think of his voice like a family friend or a long-lost uncle, they'll miss him as much as I do. So it was a sad day when we learned that he was going to retire, but I guess at some point everybody has to, right?
Jamie Campbell, I'll qualify the question in a moment. The question is, how can you ever go anywhere with Buck Martinez? The qualification to the question comes, you two were at the Kinsman Sports Celebrity Dinner in Saskatoon. And Buck Martinez went to each and every single table before he left to make sure that anyone that wanted an autograph, a picture, got what they were there for. And how do you go anywhere with him?
That is Buck. You know where else I took Buck? I took Buck to the Long Branch.
Oh, my gosh.
On Agri Night. And to his credit, he looked out at the masses on the dance floor and said, Jamie, nothing good can happen here. I'm leaving. And he left. But either way, that was Buck, right? That Kinsman Sports Dinner in Saskatoon, I think, put about 1,000, 1,100 people in the seats. And I'm convinced Buck met every single one of them, because that's who he is. I think he understands that the connection to the Blue Jay fan base in this country is more than just a television connection. It has to be a personal one, too, where that is possible. And I subscribe to the same theory myself. I don't like to think that we go, show up, broadcast, commit to our television responsibilities and then go home. That's not for me. It's not for Buck. There's a responsibility to, as I like to call, the customer. And it's one of the reasons why I know he loved hopping on that plane and coming to Saskatoon, and he'd do it again if asked, I'm sure, although now that he's in retirement, I'm going to have to reach out to him at some point and see what his plans are for leaving the home base.
And you're still going to have to remember that Starbucks order, hey?
It's going to be sad not having his name on our text chain this year, but that's life. That's life. It happens to all of us. We all have to make a decision, I guess, at some point, if we're lucky enough, right? And that's what I love about what he's done, is he gets to decide that he's leaving. He's not being called into, the offices at Human Resources, forced to sign a paper to say that his days are over. He's deciding to go out on his own terms, and I just think that's wonderful. He's earned it.
Well, the Toronto Blue Jays obviously earned a lot of what they got last year with hard work, perseverance, and just an unmistakable team chemistry. What do you see from this club in 2026 with, pitchers and catchers reporting next Wednesday?
Yes, they are. They are showing up as we speak. In fact, Tyler Heineman, who, by the way, didn't know what a combine was. We drove from Regina to Weyburn with a couple of farmers who were talking about listening to the broadcast of the Blue Jays game in their combines. And Tyler said, "What's a combine?" So we just pointed a few of them out as we took the highway south. But either way, he went directly from Regina to Dunedin, and they're all at the complex now. At least the pitchers and catchers are. Position players will show up soon enough. It's quite sad that Bo's gone. Given the conversations I had with him this past summer, I thought he was very happy as a Blue Jay. I figured he'd be really happy given they went all the way to extra innings in Game 7 of the World Series. But I also think when a team goes ahead and offers you $40 million a year, you have to take that seriously too, and clearly he did. But they went out and got this Japanese slugger Yamamoto, whose metrics in the Japanese league fit what the Blue Jays are trying to do, and his numbers in that league specifically have been tremendous. Vladdy's signed to what will be a 14-year deal beginning this year, so he's around long term. Dylan Cease is one of the best pitchers in baseball, and he's coming to a team that, for now, doesn't have Max Scherzer in the rotation, but does have a very young and very good Trey Savage in the rotation. So I think the rotation is going to be solid again. They added this submariner Rogers to the bullpen, who basically throws the baseball from knuckles up, and what an addition he'll be. So they're going to be extremely competitive yet again. I would caution, you'll probably see some regression from some players. I mean, my goodness, the years that George Springer and Ernie Clement had, and for some time Addison Barger, it's hard to expect them to repeat those performances. So at some point you'll see some regression from some, but either way, they're still, in my estimation, among the top 3 most dangerous teams in the American League, if not number 1 in that respect.
Hey, Jamie, it's producer Colson over here. So you were talking earlier in your conversation just about the people growing up listening to The Voice and appreciating it. I didn't grow up as a fan of baseball, but something that I did appreciate was the Olympics, and it's my understanding that you actually called an Olympics event that I, as a 12-year-old, remember watching live on my couch when Alex Bilodeau got our first gold medal for Canada at the 2010 Olympics.
16 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, that was such an honor for me, and truthfully, I was not supposed to be, about 2 months prior to those Olympics, I was not actually supposed to be calling the Moguls events. But the person who originally was designated to call those events, I think either got ill or, in fact, I'm sure she got pregnant with her first child and decided that going to do the Olympics was probably not the smartest thing. And she had been assigned freestyle skiing. And 2 months prior to the games, I was taking on all the snowboarding events, and suddenly I get a phone call saying, "Do you mind doing freestyle skiing as well?" And I jumped on a train, went to Montreal, and had breakfast with Jennifer Heil, who was the number 1 mogul skier on the women's side in the world at that time, and Alexandre Bilodeau, who are coached by the same person, Dominic Gauthier. The 3 of us collected for breakfast in Montreal, and bless them for giving me their time, just to give me a real good sense of what they were about and what I could expect when we got to Vancouver. So it was a massive thrill to be on the microphone when Bilodeau truthfully surprised us all. He had not won a World Cup event all year. And the guy that was supposed to win that was a Canadian-born Australian named Dale Begg-Smith. So for me to have the microphone when Alex did what he did is something I'll never forget. I've cherished it since. I love when people remind me of it because they so often associate me with baseball, but I had dreams as a kid of being an Olympic broadcaster, and those dreams came true in 2010.
Whether it's you with Joe or Madison or Caleb, everything looks so polished in the broadcast. How does your workflow work day to day? Is you've got not 1 or 2 or 22 football games to prepare for. You got 162 of these games.
Mm-hmm. Well, those pairings are about to change because I think with Buck retiring, both Joe Siddle and Caleb Joseph will end up spending more time in the broadcast booth. I don't know if that's been formalized, but it seems that is what will happen. But luckily, Madison is part of the crew, and I'm sure we'll fill some of that the absence of Buck in other ways. But we all just get along so darn well. I mean, Caleb and Joe and Madison are 3 wonderful people who are very good friends. And you know this, Dave, is that you can't sit in a broadcast booth or on a set with people you don't like, right? It's just...
I mean, he's stuck with me.
Well, hey, maybe 4 beers will change that. But it's truly important that you like and respect the people you're with, and I am blessed to have people I adore to work with every day. So we immerse ourselves in baseball and call each other or text each other to talk about baseball all the time, every day of the summer. There rarely is a day of the summer where I don't talk to all 3 of them. And, truthfully, as a fan of baseball, I spend a great deal of time researching about baseball in my spare time. I'd be doing it if I was a shoe salesman like my father. I'd still be using my spare time to read up on the history of the game, the statistics, the events, who's coming up in the various systems of each team. I'm fascinated by that stuff and always have been. So when you put that together with like-minded folks, like the ones I get to work with, you tend to be able to put together a pretty decent broadcast.
It's Vladimir Guerrero Sr.'s 51st birthday today.
Oh, goodness, yes. Make me feel old yet again.
Well, I'm just curious, being a hockey dad, right? Sometimes we go home from the game and we analyze everyone. Do you think that he has a lot of influence on what Vladdy Jr. does?
Well, I'll tell you why I don't think so, because they're not similar as baseball players, right? Vladdy Sr. Could run like the wind in the outfield and hit everything thrown to him. I mean, I saw Vladdy Sr. hit baseballs that were bounced about 2 feet in front of the plate. That's not his son. His son is wildly disciplined and has more natural power. I'm sure they share a lot of things, right? The same way that Bo Bichette and his father Dante share a lot of things. If your dad was in the Hall of Fame, right, in your chosen profession, it'd be silly not to have a solid relationship with him. So, I imagine they spend a fair amount of time in conversation. And I wouldn't know. Well, I would know. I have a son in university now who played a lot of hockey and baseball, and I found, given that I wasn't very good at either one of those games, which is probably why I got into broadcasting, that I tried not to be too critically constructive of the things he did on the ice or on the ball diamond, just because, well, who am I, right? Just because I broadcast Blue Jays games, it doesn't mean I can teach my son how to throw a slider, so maybe I'd best not. So I'm always fascinated by those father-son relationships and how much the father places in terms of expertise and knowledge on the child. In this case, it would be great to sit down with the two of them and listen to them talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jamie Campbell, dang, we could do this all day. I could chat with you all afternoon, but unfortunately we do need to let you go. We'll have to do this sometime in the near future, though. I can't wait to hear you on the 50th season.
I want to come back to Saskatchewan. It's so bloody cold here in Toronto.
That's the only time you will ever say that out loud, Jamie Campbell.
Yes. Also, I had a pill, too. So, I mean, goodness, I know I could get them here, but hey.
You're initiated. Now we just need to get you some pierogies. A pill and pierogies, then you're fully Sasky. Thank you so much for doing this, Jamie Campbell.
Great to speak with both of you.
Well, thank you very much. Of course, joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline, the one, the only, Jamie Campbell. So excited to have him on the air with us. That was a fun conversation. I hope he does come back here this summer.
Absolutely. And again, we didn't really talk about it, but again, Jamie going through a battle of his own, right, with his own health, and he has made that very prominent. But one of the things he does at speaking engagements is anyone else that has battled cancer like he is, he gives them a hug. And I think that's the coolest thing ever. A great person all around.
No offense to you, Dave, but he might be my favorite broadcaster.
No, none taken at all.
And, of course, he was joining us on that Western Pizza Guest Hotline. If you have any questions for any of our guests throughout the show this afternoon, and we still have plenty to come, you can always join in the conversation on the Prairieland Rentals text line, whatever you need to get the job done. Prairieland Rentals probably has it. It's also an official Husqvarna snow thrower dealer. Deal with the owner at 600 Albert Street. We're taking a break. Coming up, the Sports Ticker, and, of course, your news at the top of the clock. It's the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.
Did you know over 1.3 million homeowners call on Reliance for their water heater needs? With over 150,000 five-star online reviews and over 60 years experience, you could say Reliance Heath are water heater experts. Switch to Reliance Heath today. They'll give you $200 for all your hot water needs.
Call on Reliance.
Visit waterheaterrentals.com for details. Terms and conditions apply.
Winter's not done yet, but your home projects can be. Finish the season strong with Freeze Tallman. From updating interior doors and trim to boosting attic insulation that helps keep heating costs down, Freeze Tallman has what you need. Thinking about a home office or finally setting up that home gym? Now's the time. And when it's cold outside, staying warm means staying in, so Freeze Tallman delivers right to your door. Visit freezetallman.com. Freeze Tallman. Locally owned, family grown. Rooted in our community for 70 years.
You watched him on TV. He made you cheer. He made you chant. He made you celebrate moments you'll never forget. Now, see him live. Jeremy Roenick, NHL superstar and Hockey Hall of Famer in Yorkton for one unforgettable night. The stories you've never heard and memories you'll talk about forever. The Yorkton Terriers' 3rd Annual Celebrity Sports Dinner, presented by the Kinsman Club of Yorkton, February 21st at St. Mary's Cultural Center. Tickets are limited. Don't just remember it, live it. Visit YorktonTerriers.com now.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals. Switch to Reliance today and get $200 cash back with your new water heater. Some conditions apply. Call on Reliance.
All right, Saskatchewan U18 AAA boys, Bouchette Warriors at Notre Dame, taking on the Hounds tonight at 7:30 at the 2026 Winter Olympics. Let me see here. Some highlights. Mixed doubles curling, Canada taking on Switzerland early in the wee hours of this morning. And it looked like Jocelyn Peterman and Brett Gallant defeated Switzerland 8-4, but they are done. In the tourney, women's hockey, Canada taking on Czechia 5-0 is the score right now in favor of Canada. And there is 18 and a half minutes remaining in the third period. Sportscage.com poll, did you enjoy the halftime show at the Super Bowl? Super Bowl 60 last night, Bad Bunny, Lady Gaga made an appearance, Ricky Martin did as well. What'd you think? Sportscage.com. You can vote there and let us know. And that's your Sports Ticker. It's brought to you by Reliance Group of Companies. And still to come, of course, Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation is going to join us to talk about all the moves in CFL free agency. That's coming up after the news. It's the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.
If you've got a Steelcraft garage door, you've got a door with parts manufactured and assembled right here in Canada. A door with better insulation and seal, plus a warranty you're probably never going to use. And if you don't have a Steelcraft garage door, you should get one. Don't just hang a door, install a Steelcraft. Turn curb appeal into curb envy.
Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door. We offer more.
Steel-craft.ca.
Co-op has been beside local farmers and ranchers for generations. With Western Canada's largest fuel network and a team of local agronomy experts, Co-op is built to keep your operation moving forward. With deep local knowledge of the factors affecting your farm, we're ready to provide trusted advice in the field and on the ground. Count on Co-op to support your entire operation from season to season. Co-op, here for your farm, here for your family. Visit your Co-op Agro Center to talk to a team member today.
Sask Lotteries has over 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
This is 620 CKRM Regina, the voice of Saskatchewan, a Harvard media station, streaming everywhere at 620ckrm.com.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Tanner Wallace-Scribner from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with 620 CKRM News for Bronco Plumbing and Heating, where professional service is guaranteed. They'll treat you right. 781-2090. The government of Saskatchewan is investing nearly $6 million in the SCAN enforcement initiative to support public safety in Regina and across the province. The funding is part of a plan to add about 100 frontline officers, including $1.7 million for the Regina Police Service to help recruit and retain 27 officers. Public Safety Minister Michael Uyghur says the investment with SCAN will give police the resources they need to respond faster and keep neighborhoods safe.
At its heart, this initiative is about making sure people feel safe where they live, work, and raise their families. Municipal police services are at the center of this work.
Regina's mayor and police chief says the support will make a meaningful difference as the city grows and crime becomes more complex. The Saskatchewan NDP says rule changes to the provincial nominee program are blocking Ukrainians from securing permanent residency. The new restrictions focus on how long a work permit has left before expiry, a move critics say is incompatible with the long-term permits issued to Ukrainians fleeing the war. Ukrainian residents say they've built lives in Saskatchewan, but now see no clear path forward. The NDP is urging the Sask Party government to revise the job approval letter rules or follow Manitoba's lead by creating a separate immigration stream. And there's a new push for British Columbia to succeed from Canada and form a new country with Alberta and Saskatchewan. About 100 supporters of the BC Prosperity Project group had their first meeting last Monday in Campbell River, a city on the east coast of Vancouver Island. But UBC political science lecturer Stuart Prest says support for BC separatism is limited to a small pocket in the province. He adds that the aggressive actions by U.S. President Donald Trump have actually strengthened British Columbians' identity as Canadians. The province says a Saskatchewan school division was defrauded out of more than $16,000 by a former employee last year. It says the Lloydminster Roman Catholic Separate School Division reported the loss after an employee misappropriated cash and the use of a corporate purchase card for personal items. The fraud was reported to have occurred over a year and a half, beginning in early 2024. According to the report, the incident was reported to the RCMP and the employee was terminated from their position. Saskatchewan's free fishing weekend is set for February 14th to 16th, allowing anglers to fish without a license on any open provincial water body. The government says it's a chance for families and friends to enjoy winter together. Officials remind people to check ice thickness, review lake-specific rules, and pack out all garbage. Regular possession limits remain in place, and a license is required to transport fish out of the province. More information is available online in the Saskatchewan Angler's Guide. That's 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com.
Winter's coming. Is your home ready? At Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they install high-efficiency brine furnaces that keep your family cozy while saving energy and money. Their professional team takes care of everything, from installation to long-term service, so your home stays warm for years to come. Call 781-2090 or visit broncoplumbing.com today. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, and Bryant, whatever it takes.
Weather brought to you by Line-X Regina. Serious protection, killer looks, 1865 McCarra Street. Tonight, partly cloudy, breezy, and a low of -8. For tomorrow, a few flurries, then mostly sunny, breezy, and a high of +2. For Wednesday, sunshine, breezy, and a high of +3. Thursday, mostly sunshine, and a high of +4. And then for Friday, partly sunny, and a high of +3.
For 40 years, the team from Line-X Regina has been protecting vehicles across Saskatchewan, and we're changing with the times. 3 generations of our family have protected your vehicles. Our business has evolved, and we're not stopping now. The next generation is here. Same family, same commitment, ready for the next generation of truck beds, rocker panels, trailers, bumpers, and running boards in all kinds of colors. Line-X Regina, 1865 McCarra Street, the next generation of protective coatings.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Visit satstoday.ca for the voices of Saskatchewan, your news, ag, and sports portal. Think of it like a newspaper from the old days, without the inky hands. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Thanks for taking the time. I'm Tegan Whitco, your Monday host of the Sports Cage. Joining me today is, of course, Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Colson Schultz behind the controls, keeping us on the stream, not only on our YouTube channel, sportscage.com, and 620 CKRM as well. Whew. I just came screeching in on 2 tires because I made the mistake of going to grab myself a mint tea.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I know that was a mistake. I appreciate my mint tea, but apparently 10 people needed to talk to me in between that. So Colson was frantically waving me into the control room here.
Just the price of popularity.
Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, that's what I'd go with.
I have a
absolutely
full-time job on top of this. That's probably why people just need things from me. It's fine.
Oh.
We're good. No, this is the fun part of the job, and we still have so much more to come this afternoon. The Clutch Performer coming up at 4:30 this afternoon. We have a couple of them to get through. We're going to catch up with Crofty before 5 o'clock as well. Darian Durant after 5 o'clock. And Pats chat later in the show. They had a pair of games this weekend at the Durant Center. And man, those crowds were a lot of fun. So we'll talk to some of the boys here and talk about what's to come as we get deeper into the week. But in the meantime, I think we should probably talk some football. What do you say, Dave?
I'm ready for football talk.
Hell yeah. Western Pizza Guest Hotline joining us next. It's the Greek-style pizza that has become famous around the world, plus all the Greek and Canadian food you can't get enough of. Western Pizza, the local legend. Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation is dropping by to discuss CFL free agency, all of the hot off-season news. Justin, thanks for making the time.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Good to catch up with you.
Yeah, it's been a minute. We are now into that legal tampering window for CFL free agency. At this point, do we just skip this portion of the offseason and just get right into free agency? It doesn't seem to make any sense to me.
There's been some talk about that around the league, and actually talking to some people in those front offices, there was a thought from the league office that perhaps it could be changed even this year. That obviously did not happen because the window has opened and now closed, and we're getting close to the opening of the market, 12 o'clock Eastern time on Tuesday. So there's been some talks around potentially shrinking the negotiation window or the communication window, I think, as the CFL has properly termed it, So we'll have to see what the future holds.
Who does the negotiation window benefit? The players or the organizations or the league as a whole?
I think potentially everybody. And if I can go through it quickly, it definitely helps out the players in terms of feeling comfortable, understanding what's out there in the market. Because in the past, it used to be CFL free agency open and there were a whole bunch of offers stuck in your face and you had to make a decision, perhaps a life-changing one, very quickly. So I think this process allows the players to have more comfort and ease in terms of the decision that they're going to make. And same for the franchises out there as well. They can get to know a player a little more. There is the option out there that if teams wanted to fly players in perhaps for a visit or do a physical. That's a possibility. Like I know Dejan Allen out in BC went through a physical process before re-signing with the BC Lions. So that's something that can give the teams comfort when they're spending big dollars in CFL free agency. And then I think, honestly, from the league's perspective, it benefits the CFL because you have a prolonged spotlight shone on your league. If we look at the metrics just simply on 3downnation.com, let's use last year because it's a better period, I think, to look at. We had multiple days of traffic spikes over the negotiation window and then on into free agency. So I'm all for, as Stuart Johnston obviously is, looking at how the process can be better. I think that should be discussed. But I think the way that it's set up now actually gives the CFL more spotlight than if you just went back to the old model where you opened up CFL free agency and it was fast and furious for, maybe 2 or 3 days instead of 10 days as the process is now.
So I will say that one of the big changes that came out to me, the ones that stuck out to me, Trey Ford, right? He's going to be off to Hamilton. You spoke with him. You had a one-on-one with him following this news breaking. Now, what stood out to you, Justin, when it came to that conversation that you had with him, and why do you feel this move makes sense for him and the Ticats?
Well, that deal is done because Edmonton released him prior to a $110,000 offseason roster bonus. So we reported that exclusively that he had signed with the Ticats. The team has come out and confirmed that since. And in that one-on-one that you mentioned, it really stuck out to me that he wanted to be home. He's from Niagara Falls, Ontario, played his youth sports football at the University of Waterloo. And if the Tiger Cats were going to want him, he was going to want to go there. And that happened. He spoke to Scott Milanovich on the phone prior to signing there. Milanovich told him that he believes he can be a starter again in this league. But as Milanovich will always say, Trey Ford has to put the work in. He happens to have a relationship with Bo Levi Mitchell, which I think can help him sort of undergo this process where he's going to go back to being a backup, yet again. He was after Cody Fajardo took over for him last year in Edmonton, but it's a true backup role behind Bo Levi Mitchell. And the reason why he chose Hamilton over BC was fairly simple. He had a lot of excitement for potentially going to BC, but Nathan Rourke is much younger than Bo Levi Mitchell and looks to be the guy that's going to be a franchise player for the Lions for a number of years. So you go to Hamilton, you're behind Bo Levi Mitchell, who has said himself that he's year to year. And if you earn it with Scott Milanovich, then you could be the guy in an offense that has been dynamic the last couple of seasons, with Mitchell throwing for over 5,000 yards in 2 straight years.
If you take the business out of it, and I know that we're living in fantasy world, right? But if you take the business aspect out of the $110,000 signing bonus in Edmonton, if that goes away, is Trey Ford still an Edmonton Elks player right now?
It didn't seem like it. And I asked him directly, Dave, did you have any negotiations with Edmonton about potentially restructuring your contract, sorry to bring in the business part, and staying there? And he said flatly he hadn't heard from anybody in Edmonton up until getting a quick phone call where the Elks told him he was going to be released. So I got that sense early on that it was going to be best for all parties, that Trey Ford had a fresh start somewhere else, to answer your question directly. And I believe that myself, just from being around the league for a number of years. I think this can benefit Trey Ford in a number of ways, and it takes away that awkwardness with him and Cody Fajardo and Trey Ford having been benched last year in Edmonton and all the things that Trey Ford went through in Edmonton as well. I think you can just sever off that part of your career now and focus on being a Hamilton Tiger Cat.
When it comes to all the offseason moves that have happened thus far, reportedly or confirmed, regardless of that, who do you think among all 9 CFL teams, who's done the best job? Who's filled the most gaps?
It has to be the Ottawa Red Blacks. Now, you could argue that's because they had some gaps to fill, but I would give them an A with what they've done, and I think it was needed in the nation's capital. Ryan Dinwiddie said the Red Blacks were going to be aggressive, and Sean Burke, the vice president of football operations, followed that up. They signed over 10 players, agreed to terms with over 10 players that are all but done. Sorry, that's a little slip there. But I thought they did a great job. And I know some people in Rider Nation were freaking out a little bit because a number of those players that went to the nation's capital were Riders. But I think that it made a lot of sense when you break down those from an individual perspective, and also with the fact that the Riders had a league-high 44 pending free agents, and Jeremy O'Day in the front office were able to retain over half of those players, at least so far, into the offseason. So definitely the Red Blacks, I think, made some huge roster upgrades. Now, you can't win the Grey Cup strictly through free agency, but I think Ottawa really helped themselves in the negotiation window with these contracts to be made official.
Ottawa's defense, if you looked at them statistically last year, they came to play, but they made a lot of moves on that defensive side. But I wonder, is the biggest move in the quarterback role with Jake Maier coming in behind Drew Brown?
Potentially. And I think that Drew Brown needs to understand that his job is on the line every time he takes a rep, and especially starts a game with Ryan Dinwiddie. Jake Maier, is a guy that has a lot of starts. We saw him start 2 games last year. Really, it was a true 1 because at end of the regular season game, Jack Cohn came in and played. But Ryan Dinwiddie is high on Jake Maier, and they didn't cross over in Calgary per se, but Dinwiddie was part of the scouting process as Maier was being added to the negotiation list and then ultimately signed by the Stampeders. So I think that backup component, as you alluded to, Dave, in Ottawa can be a major one, because Red Blacks go into the season with, arguably some depth there, depending on who you talk to around the league and their opinion of Drew Brown. But Jake Maier is still young. Like, he's not even 30 yet. Yeah. So the fact that he gets to team up with Ryan Dinwiddie in a familiar system, because it's similar to what Mark Mueller runs, I think will be beneficial for him.
Now, I've clearly watched too much Law & Order with my son. So circumstantial evidence, right? So Jake Maier decides that he's going to leave the Saskatchewan Roughriders, right? Obviously makes that decision, so understands that, okay, Trevor Harris has got a year, 2, whatever left on his contract and is going to be the guy in Saskatchewan. So he goes to Ottawa and he goes behind Drew Brown. You've been a quarterback that has been recruited by a high-level college in Canada. You understand that process. So if I'm Ryan Dinwiddie or Sean Burke talking to Jake Maier, what am I using? And what am I saying to recruit him and entice him to sign in Ottawa? Am I saying that you're going to get a fair shake in training camp? Am I saying that, you know what, Drew Brown's our guy, but he hasn't performed? Like, what is that conversation like?
It starts with money, first and foremost, as it often does in the business. So the contract that he's going to sign in Ottawa is, I believe, a great one for a backup quarterback, at least going into training camp. And then I think it's that last sentence that you said there, Dave. It's like, hey, come in. We have restructured Drew Brown's contract. He's the 9th highest paid starting quarterback in the Canadian Football League, and compete. If you compete and prove that you're better and Drew Brown slips up to start the regular season, then you could potentially be our starter. And Drew Brown also is not signed past the 2026 season. So I think that shows that when Jake Maier looks at the landscape in the Canadian Football League, that he believed the quickest path to playing time, and as a player, you have to be confident, could happen in the nation's capital. Now, it might not happen. Drew Brown could come out, learn Ryan Dinwiddie's offense, look great. They have a great bunch of receivers there in the nation's capital. If the O-line can stay healthy, then perhaps Jake Maier doesn't get a sniff of that starting job. But I think when you look at it realistically, it does seem like if Jake Maier wants to get on the field in 2026, that betting on that happening in Ottawa is probably the safest bet out there.
Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about this a little bit, Justin. Baldonado, Malik, both out for the Riders, right? We see some changes happening there. So when it comes to pass rushers, what do you think some of those changes might need to be if you're Jeremy O'Day and looking at this roster?
That's going to be the major area of focus, I think, for this team in training camp. So James Vaughters has agreed to terms, according to my colleague at 3 Down Nation, John Hodge, on a contract to go to Saskatchewan. And I think that makes a lot of sense because him and Corey Mace have a relationship, who doesn't, it seems like, with him going back to Calgary by now, all the Stampeders that are over there. So He knows Mace's system. Mace knows him as a player. Vaughters had, I thought, an under-the-radar 6 sacks last season, I believe, with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So he's a veteran guy that you can bring in there and go, okay, we know what we have. Then I think you have to look at, and Dave was at practice every single day last year, some of the guys that we're developing and that dress, because Corey Mace likes to dress so many defensive linemen, that are the guys that are hoping the Riders can be the next one. So I would look at guys like Chico Bennett Jr. or who's the other guy I was thinking of? Aaron Patrick, I think, would probably be the top 2 guys among them. I think Dave could probably go into it even in more detail, but you're looking for that next dude that can really fit your system and understand what you're being asked to do under Corey Mason. I should say, actually, specifically now under Joshua Bell, the defensive coordinator.
Absolutely, and I think you nailed it, right, with the defensive rush. The one player that jumped off the page to me as being a surprise was Winton McManus, because I think that the great players make people around them great, and that's what I thought Winton McManus did for the Toronto Argonauts. Was that a surprise to you, or was there a bigger one?
McManus wasn't a surprise because Cam Judge is there in the middle. They signed Darius Pickett to a pretty strong contract to be the Sam linebacker, and then earlier in the process, they re-signed Isaac Darkangelo. And when I saw what the salary was for Darkangelo, and then you add up Judge and Pickett, Judge is around $200,000 and Pickett's getting close to that as well. You're thinking, okay, I don't think they can afford to spend, around $230,000 on Winton McManus to bring him back, regardless if Michael Pinball Clemens wants to or not. And really, it's Jim Barker pulling the strings over there. So once I understood the financial part of that, I thought, okay, it makes a lot of sense for Winton McManus to go down to Hamilton for a number of reasons. Top among them, the drive for him is actually shorter than it would be going to BMO Field if he was playing for the Argos, now going down to Hamilton Stadium. And then also the fact that the Ticats lost an outstanding Canadian in Devin Verasuk to the NFL, who signed with the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are very high on this kid. I think he could potentially be down there for the entire season, if not longer. He's a really athletic linebacker. So the Ticats are sitting there going, we have a massive void to fill. Winton McManus is out there. We can take from a division rival, our arch rival, nonetheless. And then for McManus, he literally doesn't have to move. He's going to stay in the same house. He's put down roots in the GTHA, as they call it, out in Ontario. So for all those reasons, that move made sense.
So staying in the East, just one more quick question. Obviously, Montreal really hasn't done a lot. They haven't had to do it, but they did have a surprise retirement. Is that the biggest obstacle they've got to overcome in free agency this year?
Yeah, that's a tricky one when you word it as an obstacle, because I think what Montreal loses with Marc-Antoine Dequoy retiring is the big playability. That guy, time and time again, got it done for the Montreal Alouettes at clutch time. Just ask Chad Kelly. He ruined that East final, the Argos' historic season that they had going there. And then the Alouettes went to the Grey Cup and won the Grey Cup when really not many people thought that they can do it. That was after Cody Fajardo was cast off in Saskatchewan and all the rest. So what they lose in Marc-Antoine Dequoy is a bona fide, and I'm going to say it, superstar in that market. In Quebec, he is a legitimate superstar, a guy that has made so many game-changing plays. But they do have players who I think are ready to step up, namely Jonathan Sutherland, who just signed with the team. He was a first-round pick. He had been trying to get on an NFL roster. Didn't happen, so he's come up to Canada. Nate Boschman, who was an outstanding defensive player with the University of Calgary, won the Defensive Player of the Year award in the Canada West, is there chomping at the bit. And also Arthur Hamlin is there as well. So I think they'll be fine at safety. It won't be to Dequoy's level off the hop, but I think they have some guys that can play at a really high level. And Montreal doesn't really rely on free agency because Dana Michocha has employed the strategy where he signs players to contract extensions early. They don't necessarily stay there the entire time, just to ask Austin Mack about that. But they did agree to terms with Jarrett Stearns, a former Rough Rider, and Dustin Crum, who's a backup quarterback and I think a great fit for them behind Davis Alexander.
Now, when you talk about the Montreal Alouettes, of course, they announced that they released Letcher Jr., and now he's going to be coming into Saskatchewan. So how do you like that fit when it is a position as a returner that has been under some hot water in the past season?
I love it. I honestly couldn't figure out why he didn't dress in the Grey Cup because I thought he was dynamic during his time with Montreal. And clearly, at least the Roughriders or some people over there agree with me because I think this guy, in that special teams unit with Kent Malguri and the rest there in Saskatchewan, I think can be electric. That's nothing to throw a slight at Mario Alford, who is going to depart Saskatchewan with a whole bunch of rider records that are going to be really difficult to beat if they even are ever beat. He was great for them throughout his career there, but he was getting up there in age. So you get James Letcher Jr., who, if you go back and look at his numbers when he was in the NCAA, was unbelievable, not just as a returner, but as a receiver. Like, this guy put up some big-time stats. Now, the NCAA is obviously not the CFL, but I think what he's flashed in Canada has at least the opportunity to go to the next level in Saskatchewan with the Riders.
Where would he fit if you were, and again, I'm not going to put you on the spot and say, rank the returners in the CFL, but he would have to be in the top third, wouldn't he, when you look around the league and the numbers that other guys are putting up?
Ooh, I would think so, and I think the salary would tell you that potentially as well when we get a deeper look at that. But Devontae Dedmon, I think, was highly regarded by some teams around the Canadian Football League after he was released by the Ottawa Redblacks. He ends up going to Montreal, but there were some other teams that wanted him as well. And Janarian Grant is probably the guy that tops that list, I would think, but Letcher's an up-and-comer. So I think you could make an argument that he's in the top three, but Trey Vavel's got a strong case. Like, I'm trying to make sure I don't forget some people. So I think Letcher Jr. is going to have to, I think he's going to have to add to his resume just real quickly for him to be in that conversation as I kind of go through the Rolodex on the spot.
And if I don't ask this question, I'm going to get in trouble from Rider Nation because we love talking quarterbacks here. Any idea what Curtis Rourke is doing these days and what's going to be his future or potential trajectory?
I know the Rider fans want to see him come north of the border, but if you hear Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch talk about Curtis Rourke, he's going to get a legitimate shot with that team. They drafted him with the idea that essentially it would be a redshirt year because of him playing on a torn ACL with Indiana University. So I think that's a down the road question. We'll get a better idea of where he's at when he gets on the field and organized training activities with San Francisco and then on into training camp. But, I honestly don't see him up here for at least minimum another year. And I think it could be longer just because of how John Lynch and, as I said, Shanahan talk about Curtis Rourke.
Do you think his brother's experience will shape what his NFL experience looks like, if you know what I'm alluding to? Like, again, Nathan Rourke went down, bounced around, and maybe Curtis takes that experience and understands that, okay, this is how I'm going to approach it differently, perhaps?
I think it's different for Curtis Rourke because he had that big season with the Hoosiers, and I believe was in the top 10 of the Heisman voting that season, so he's viewed differently. But I'm sure that Nathan Rourke and Curtis Rourke have talked about, the politics of the NFL and how quickly things can change for you. Like Nathan Rourke, I'm trying to remember the exact timeline, but like getting released, or he goes to Atlanta and then like 8 or 10 days later, he's playing in a preseason game without any practice reps and they're evaluating him off that. Like, you have to be ready for literally any situation. So I'm sure Curtis Rourke will be, but I think he's going to get more of a legitimate chance because the 49ers spent, even though it's late, spent a draft pick on him and then invested a full year's salary in him to rehab.
True. They kind of did that same thing with Brock Purdy, kind of. Purdy might have been
worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
True.
Justin Dunk, 3 Down Nation. Appreciate the time as always, Justin. We look forward to doing this again soon.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
3 Down Nation, you can check out all of his work, of course, on the 3 Down Nation podcast and 3downnation.com. Always appreciate having him be a contributor of the show. We still have a lot to get to this afternoon, gentlemen. I mean, of course, Darian Durant is still coming up after 5 o'clock. We have Pat's Chat that's going to be coming up. We still need to catch up with Crofty That's what I'm calling it now, catching up with Crofty.
Catching up with Crofty, okay.
Right? It kind of has a little bit of a ring to it. Clutch Performer, that's coming up as well. Pat's Chat, not sure if I mentioned that, but yeah, that and still a whole bunch more to get to. So we do have your sports ticker coming up here in just a moment. Colson, are we taking a break right away? Okay, this is the Monday edition of the Sports Cage. It's brought to you by Sask Today, the voices of Saskatchewan. Visit Sask Today, Saskatchewan's leading online news, egg, and sports portal at sasktoday.com. Coming up next, of course, as I mentioned, your Clutch Performer and the Sports Ticker. It's on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.
After shuttling the kids to hockey, dance, piano, and what was next? Sumo wrestling? The last thing you want to do is cook. Imagine this instead. Piping hot Western pizza loaded with cheese, melty toppings, and that perfect crispy crust ready to hit the table in minutes. No chopping, no stirring, no mess. Just a warm, delicious reward for surviving the day. Western Pizza. Dine in or take out today before your stomach demands its own carpool.
We asked Karen what it's like investing with Brian Gawley at Smart Investing Solutions.
Brian is great to work with. He's always quick to get back to me. I like to ask a lot of questions, and he's always been really good. No question is a silly question. He cares about, when I ask him something, he's very detailed, and I know he cares about his clients, and he's very thorough when he explains things, so I understand it.
SmartInvestingSolutions.ca. Are you ready for a legend? Jeremy Roenick, NHL superstar, Hockey Hall of Famer, and one of hockey's most unfiltered voices, is coming to Yorkton. It's the Yorkton Terriers' 3rd annual Celebrity Sports Dinner, presented by the Kinsman Club of Yorkton. One night, one legend, amazing food, huge laughs, and legendary hockey stories. February 21st at St. Mary's Cultural Center. Tickets just $95 each, or tables of 8 only $750. For full details and tickets, visit YorktonTerriers.com.
The Sports Cage Clutch Performer, brought to you by Kellen Solar. 35 years of experience, moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit KellenSolar.com to find out more about your livestock operation.
All right, well, I feel like we have a lot of potential options for the Clutch Performer from this past weekend.
Sure do.
Brought to you by Kellen Solar. But I do feel like we need to start with the obvious. The Super Bowl. No, yes. I'm not talking about the Seahawks. I want to talk about the trees.
The trees?
The trees. I kid you not. For every kid in high school and elementary school who were told, you know what, you're just going to be tree number 2 or tree number 3. Well, guess what? There were hundreds upon hundreds of tree actors part of the Super Bowl halftime show last night.
Those were people.
Those were humans because they only have a very limited amount of time to set up the entire set for the show, right? So It's just easier to have a lot of these set pieces, I suppose, be humans that are mobile. They can walk on the field. They can walk right off the field. So there are hundreds of people out there who can now say they were part of the Super Bowl halftime show.
I received this information from a tweet, so it could be completely erroneous. But
true.
Apparently, the tree people, as they call them.
The tree people.
The tree people? I love that.
We're paid $18.70 an hour for 70 hours of work because 8 days of rehearsal and game day. That's a total of $1,309.
Dang, why didn't we go down to LA and be tree people?
Wow.
That's some decent coin. That's again, American too, not Canadian.
Again, this is a tweet, so completely erroneous potentially, but there you go.
Possibly completely inaccurate.
Wow.
But that's some good coin.
Just
to stand there the whole time and do nothing?
And speed walk on and off the field.
Well, but I mean, they had like a 13-minute break in between.
Ish.
So, say that your wife got the job as an actor and was a tree.
Go on.
And she performed at halftime, came off the field.
I'm nervous where this is going already.
And you embraced one another, then would you be a tree hugger?
Oh, gosh.
Sorry, I'm here all day. Not good. You're not paying for the funnies here.
We're not paying you at all.
No, that's true. You get what you pay for, right?
So the trees are my from the Super Bowl halftime show. That is one of my clutch performers. I have an unclutch, but we can go to you boys next. Break it up a little bit if you'd like.
Okay, well, I've got two quick ones for you. First of all, Darren Zeri, longtime sports reporter at the Star Phoenix in Saskatoon. Today was his last day, or is his last day on the job before he retires. So congratulations to Darren. He has covered it all front to back, upside down, and I had the pleasure of working with him for 20 years, even had a chance to coach his son in hockey.
Oh, cool.
I didn't corrupt him too much. So, Darren, congratulations on an amazing career with the Saskatoon Star Phoenix and, of course, Post Media. And also, my faith in humanity was restored at the Regina Pats game on Friday night as I was jumping into my vehicle following the conclusion of the Pats game, and I was somewhat befuddled after the overtime setback to Saskatoon. Jumped into my car. Unbeknownst to me, my phone falls out. Get a knock on the window. Do you have your phone with you? And I thought, somebody wants to use my phone.
Sell something to you or something.
And so he's like, no, my daughter. And then a young girl knocks on my window and hands me my phone. What are the odds of that happening? So I don't know who they were. Didn't catch their name. I wish I would have. But they're my clutch performer because faith in humanity restored once again.
That's pretty cool.
Very cool.
That's a good one.
Because they could have just taken your phone and sold it. Just take out the SIM card. Easy couple $100.
Yeah.
Or am I just a terrible person considering my mind went there immediately?
Knowing that you know that, I'm somewhat don't have as much faith in humanity any longer.
Okay.
Just saying.
My clutch performer, this is actually from last Saturday, but it is still worth mentioning. So, high school goaltender, Claus Harthus in New Jersey.
Great name.
Yeah, for the Vernon Township High School. The Vikings, as they are, 3-9-1, not a great season, were facing off against the Mountain Lakes Boonton. They ended up getting beat 4-0, not a great game, but his team only managed, I think it was 4 shots. Yeah, 4 shots. Whereas he faced 108. And only let in 4.
What?
Wow.
I did the math. That's a 9.36 save percentage still.
Wow.
So, yeah.
You earned a clutch performer.
Kudos, Claus.
Yeah.
Good job.
Gosh.
Did they have enough players show up for the game? 104 shots?
Yeah, were they down to one defenseman?
That's 30-some shots a period.
That's insane.
The other crazy part of all this is it was the 73rd shot that was the first goal. He took 72 shots and preserved the shutout.
Sir.
So, not only is it an unrealistic amount of shots to be facing, but he held on for dear life for a long time.
A very long time. Longer than he needed to.
Oh, yeah. At some point, the coaches really just got to go, oh, thanks, buddy. You've done your work. You've done more than we could have asked for.
True.
We'll sub you off. But, yeah.
I hope he's getting the next game off at the very least.
I hope they have, a massage coverage or something for him.
Or just a gift card, a free meal.
I'm hoping they're wearing their road jerseys. Because if they were their home whites, that jersey would just be plastered in puck marks. You know what I mean?
You gotta frame that.
Yeah, absolutely. That would have been terrible.
No amount of bleach.
No.
Get that out.
I would be very interested to find out how equipment managers do it.
I don't know. I cannot even imagine.
Another thing worth noting here, he has averaged 54.7 saves per game so far this season. So this isn't abnormal, but it's still abnormal. So
yeah, even if you're a really, really, really good goaltender at some point, that's maybe doing too much for your crew.
Yeah.
Could you imagine how that would bolster that average? Oh, I just faced 104 shots.
No big deal.
It was all good, yeah. Wow.
My goodness.
Somebody's getting a steak supper. He better got whatever the team award is at the end of the game, if it's a hard hat or whatever, he better have gotten it. He better have gotten all 3
or
stars.
The vest, give him everything. Yeah. My goodness.
If he wasn't the first star of that game, even in the losing effort, what is the point?
I'd protest.
Oh, yeah.
What was his name again?
Claus Harthus.
Claus Harthus.
Yeah.
My new hero.
And you know what would have happened, right? One of the two coaches would have disputed the shot total. Absolutely. That would not have been a mutual agreed upon shot total there.
Are you sure it was 108? I thought we were still in the 90s. I don't think we got that high.
No, it was only 92.
Exactly.
Come on, guys. Let's not be too generous. Okay, solid clutch performers. I want to do an unclutch real quick.
Okay.
because it happens, I feel like, every single year at the Super Bowl. And it's so incredibly unnecessary. And the cameras don't even show it on national television anymore for a reason, even though we're going to be showing it on the stream right here, right now. The quote-unquote streaker that went onto the field last night during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He was only shirtless. He wasn't completely, naked. But still, you're delaying the game, and all you want to do is have that story to tell later. Stop being so selfish. You're an unclutch performer. Does that mean?
No, I don't get it.
I hate it. Why? Why would you do that? Are you not going to get arrested? There has to be a fine involved with that.
Pretty sure
Super Bowl
there is
tickets are already
jail time involved and stuff.
Oh, jail time.
Yeah.
It's a serious offense now, with security in 2026. The one thing watching that video, so I hadn't seen the video. I'd like to know what Kyle Williams was doing, the defensive back for the Patriots. Like, he was chasing him. What are you going to do?
He almost tackled him.
I know, but why?
Well, if you're on my field, he's defending.
Yeah, I know, but there's nothing that's good that can come of that.
There are a few videos of runners on the field getting too close to the players and then just them giving them a shoulder and, oh, I'm a normal human and I'm concussed now.
Well, but that's the other thing. That's almost like a feather in their cap, right? Hey, I was the guy that went viral for running on the field and I almost got tackled by a defensive back or whatever the situation might be. They're going to hold on to that for the rest of their lives, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, but I think most of us are in the party of that's a dumb move. So if they start telling us that story, we're going to be like, you
Get
idiot,
bent?
you delayed the game. Although, again, this wasn't the greatest game.
No.
But still, I was watching and I had to wait an extra 2 minutes for this thing to end because of you. So
you suck.
Exactly.
See, this is probably the wrong angle to take on this, but the first ever experience that I had with a streaker was the first CFL game that I went to. And believe it or not, it wasn't at Taylor Field. It was actually in Winnipeg at Winnipeg Stadium. And so the streaker...
Not surprising.
Streaker goes onto the field. Yeah, it explains a lot. Streaker goes onto the field, and young Dave's biggest question is, so where did he put his clothes? Like, that should probably be the least of your worries. And then what do you do? Like, do you go, like...
How do you get him back?
Well, and do you go to the gas station across the street and wait for a buddy to hopefully pick you up? Like, I'm assuming they're still in the stands.
Yeah, what's the long game here? Because if you are successful by getting onto the field, then what? And you don't get arrested.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't know why the biggest thing that stood out to me was where are his clothes?
I mean, that's absolutely valid, though.
If you think it's a deep thought, if you think about all of this, right? It is a deep thought. And you obviously aren't carrying a phone to call somebody.
I don't want to know where they put it if they are.
I'm just saying.
Those are your clutch performers and unclutch performer. It is brought to you, of course, by Keln Solar. 35 years of experience moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kelnsolar.com to find out more for your livestock operation. And hey, I'm just tossing this out there. If you would like to, I don't know, maybe send us your own clutch performer. If you have a question for Darian Durant after 5 o'clock, he will be joining us. We also have Patch Chat coming up. So if there are maybe a question or two that you want to pass along, send them our way. Okay, Prairie Land Rentals text line to 306-936-6262. Yes, Darian Durant, Patch Chat, still coming up on the other side of 5 o'clock. We're also going to rerun a little bit of that conversation we had with Jamie Campbell. He was an absolutely incredible conversation that we had very early on in the show, and it was so great to have him on after being here earlier this weekend. He was in Swift Current and Weber, and so we are really happy that he was able to make some time for us. I still can't believe how close we are to training camp for baseball either. I cannot wait for baseball, mainly because I am a huge fan of spits, and I feel like it's wrong to eat them in summer or in winter time. You need to eat them in summer.
Yeah, that's a summer food.
It's a summer food. Same with hot dogs. I don't know. I'm looking forward to that smell of the ballpark, and Jamie Campbell brought us a little bit of that.
There you go.
So we are going to take a quick break here. We still have your sports ticker coming up, and we're still going to catch up with Crofty. So we'll take that break right now. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.
Getting in on more of the sports action you want is as easy as playing at sportselect.com. Simply make your picks online, generate your QR code, and lock in your bet at your local Lotto Spot retailer. Then sit back, watch the game, grip your chair, and high-five anyone nearby. Every bet is 100% legal with the chance of winning cash in hand. When you're ready to play, bet on the original. Must be 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
The Early Bird Spring Sale is on now at Extreme Hockey and Sport. The entire store is 15 to 25% off. Brands like Yeti, CCM, Bauer, all clothing and apparel. If it's in stock, it's on sale, and it must go to make room for new product. All purchases in February qualify for a custom Yeti summer package valued at $5,000. Locally owned, community-focused Extreme Hockey and Sport. 1425 McIntyre Street, conveniently located at the Cooperator Center, and online at extremehockey.net.
Welcome back to Sportscage. Connect with the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262.
Welcome back to the Sports Cage. It's Tegan Whitco here, your Monday host of the Sports Cage. I'm joined alongside Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. And, of course, Colson Schultz is the one behind the board. He's doing all the controls. He's manning everything. He's making sure that we're staying on the stream at sportscage.com, our Twitter, our YouTube, all that good stuff.
Per the conversation we were just having, apparently it's called a pitch invasion running on the field. Because I guess Europe did a lot of sports first.
Oh.
And they call them pitches, right?
Right. So pitch invasion.
That sounds very European.
Yep.
It does.
Yeah. Other names are field storming, rushing the field, rushing the court, or storming the court, or field rush. But
that was a lot of research that went into that.
What is the fine on that?
I appreciate you.
Depends on the league. In the NFL, rushing the field usually results in a lifetime ban of season tickets. You can't even sell them to somebody else. It's just you aren't allowed to buy season tickets of the team in that facility, and a lifetime trespassing notice banning the rusher from the team or stadium property, and in cases of multiple rushes, other league stadiums. So that's the NFL. Again, because you're trespassing, that's where the jail time can come in.
Yeah.
And fines and stuff.
Allegedly, Bleacher Report says $50,000 fine for fans rushing the field in an NFL game.
That's not too surprising.
I thought you were saying that's not too bad. I'm like, I got to get on your on your pay scale, buddy.
Colson's making triple what we are.
So
they haven't told me then.
Moving, yeah.
$50,000 allegedly. Again, this is just what the first thing that came up was on the internet when I looked it up. Bleacher Report is typically pretty consistent with their reporting, but yeah, that's a hefty fine. Not worth it.
Seems to be similar for baseball and basketball and other things as well.
Here's the thing, though. How do you, in your right mind, feel like this is a good idea? I'm going to hop over any security fence that I can. I know I'm going to be caught because even if you are a cat running around on the field, you are being captured. But those cats are treated pretty well. I don't think they get fined either. But as a fan, it's a terrible decision. I don't like it. Don't like it. It is. We are still talking about them, though. So that's probably exactly what they wanted.
True. News out of the Olympics. Team Canada's women.
They won 5-1 over Czechia. So that is a step in the right direction.
There's a but, though. Marie-Philippe Poulin, who is one of the best players on the team in the world, went down with a lower body injury, did not return to the game in the second period. So,
oh boy,
that's a.
Did you have a chance to look at the play that
I saw
potentially
it out of the corner of my eye? It was a hit along the wall. It's a lower body. Again, I'm no doctor. Me
neither.
Oh, that looks fine. They're going to be okay in a day and a half later. Yeah, broken leg in 3 spots. That is not what I'm saying or reporting. I'm just saying that she did not return to the game, and she will undergo obviously further evaluations.
Man,
Team Canada staff.
That's like when Devon Campbell was out with a head injury this year, and we were all like, "Oh,
broken jaw,
concussion. Oh, it'll be a week or 2. Oh, broken jaw. Oh, okay. Never mind."
You never discount an injury until you know for sure what it is, right? Yeah. I mean, but even some of these Olympic athletes, My goodness. Wednesday, wasn't it, Colson? We were talking about Lindsey Vonn.
Yeah.
Just her ACL is gone.
Yes.
And she's still competing.
She got airlifted off the hill, though, after she crashed on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So that's...
Yeah.
But, I mean...
It's a 4-year cycle, right? So
yeah.
And I also heard that it's suspected she fractured one of her lower legs.
Yes.
Serious injury, potentially ending her dream of Olympic gold is the last update.
Right. Same with Mark McMorris, right? Off the hop.
Yeah. But I believe the reports were concussion protocol for Mark McMorris,
Yes.
so he very well could still compete in the next, Big Air?
Slope style.
Slope style, which is his specialty, right? Yeah. So he's going to be coming back in a little over a week and a half?
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully, if he's good to go.
You know, you should never have a discussion around me because I just like soaking in other people's conversations like a sponge. Some call that eavesdropping. You pick your poison on that one. But... There were some folks that were upset that Finland didn't have to forfeit the game at the Olympics, right? So Canada, Finland, women's hockey were supposed to open things up, but the Finns basically all got sick, so they didn't have enough players to play a game.
And that was the first game of the tournament.
And so Finland was saying, it's as much for Canada as it is for them, and the fact that they didn't want to get Canadians sick. And there were some people that were so upset that, well, why wouldn't they just have to forfeit the game? They were the ones that couldn't play it. I'm like, well, I think in my mind, again, I didn't jump into the conversation, but my thought was, well, if the options were forfeit or play, I'm sure that the option play would have been, and then Canada could have all gotten sick, but that's just me.
I also feel like people tend to forget that, these are very contagious illnesses. Based on what I've read, I don't know, I was not there.
Mm-hmm.
But would you prefer to have them play that game day one and have Canada miss out on their next 2, potentially 3 games, or everybody get sick in the Olympic Village?
Well, that's just it, right?
Yeah. Not worth it. I mean, we've had sports teams go throughout the whole COVID era and a lot of outbreaks and things like that. We don't really need to play those games.
It wasn't an ideal situation, but like I said, I was kind of surprised. Like, wow, that's the competitive nature, and it's like you forfeit if you can't. So
yeah, I mean, they're Olympians; they're going to want to play at any opportunity that they get.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So I think we're getting ready for Crofty here soon. We'll be catching up. That's Mr. Croft to you, not to me. I get to call him Crofty. I don't know. Should we do the sports ticker before we head up Crofty? What do you say, Colson? Yeah, let's do it.
It's time for the Sports Ticker. The Early Bird Spring Sale is on now at Extreme Hockey. 15 to 25% off store-wide. 1425 McIntyre Street. Online at extremehockey.net. And now open in Moose Jaw.
Okay, let's get started here, shall we? If my computer wants to load. Okay, Saskatchewan U18 AAA boys. You got the Moose Jaw Warriors in Notre Dame facing the Hounds. When it comes to the Winter Olympics that we were just talking about here, mixed doubles curling Canada versus Switzerland in the wee hours of the morning. Jocelyn Peterman and Brett Gallant did defeat Switzerland 8-4, but they are done in the tournament. Also, women's hockey. Canada versus Czechia. That game is now done, and Canada took that one 5-1. The Sportscage.com poll today. Did you enjoy the Super Bowl halftime show at Super Bowl 60? What'd you think of Bad Bunny? What'd you think about Ricky Martin popping in there, and same with Lady Gaga? I was expecting some special guests, but yeah, I would have lost money if I were to predict who would have been joining Bad Bunny at that one. I didn't expect those two. I mean, Ricky Martin makes sense.
Yes. Lady Gaga was surprising.
That was a little bit surprising. Not going to lie. What'd you think of it? This is the poll on our website. Did you enjoy the halftime show, Dave?
You know what? I didn't mind it. It was fine by me, but who am I?
It was very political, and I know that. I thought it was good. I mean, unfortunately, I don't speak Spanish, but watching it made me want to learn.
That was you thought it was political? Yeah? Just with the flags and stuff at the end? Like, again, I see,
and the power poles and the dancers climbing up on. It was definitely political in so many ways.
I can't wait for you to explain that to me. That was like going back to high school Shakespearean days. I had no idea what any of this stuff. Like,
maybe
Romeo and Juliet, they loved each other. I don't know.
And that's all there is to the story?
That was the story. Like, well, how did you interpret? I don't know. Maybe
I read too much into it, but I'm pretty sure it was quite political. Join in the conversation anytime you'd like on the Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. Whatever you need to get the job done, Prairie Land Rentals probably has it. Also an official Husqvarna snow thrower dealer. Deal with the owner at 600 Albert Street. We'll be joined by Crofty. Coming up next, it's the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.
It's the start of a new year. Time to get financially fit. If you're looking to open an RRSP or a TFSA, maximize an existing account, or update your investment mix, Cooperators can provide the personalized advice and service you need. Want to start the new year on the right financial foot? Contact your local advisor to build a plan that works for you. Cooperators, investing in your future together.
Imagine you're at your desk, staring at the beachy wallpaper on your laptop screen, fantasizing about being there yourself. Sell Off Vacations absolutely knows that feeling. That's why until March 1st, Sell Off Vacations is helping you book that sunny vacation with easy monthly payment plans from $0 down. Dreams meet reality. More affordable than ever. Book with your travel expert or visit selloffvacations.com. Monthly payment applicants are subject to approval by Uplift Canada. See website for details.
Out here, business still begins with a conversation, a handshake, a look in the eye, a moment that can change everything. At Canada's Farm Show, Regina, Saskatchewan, presented by Bunge, those moments turn into partnerships that last season after season. Meet the producers planning their next harvest and the companies ready to help them grow. March 17th to 19th at Real District in Regina, Canada's Farm Show, where big deals grow. Visit Canada's Farm Show, reginask.ca today.
Why have just one when BOGO is better? Skip to the good part with buy one, get ones all month long in the Skip app. Buy one, get one free. Terms apply. Only on Skip.
Welcome back to Sports Cage. Get social with us. Follow us on X at Sports Cage. Watch our video stream at sportscage.com and always on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Welcome back to the Sports Cage. Appreciate you taking the time. I'm Tegan Whitco, your Monday host of the Sports Cage. Not to worry, we'll have Barney back in tomorrow through the rest of the week. Joining me today, however, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders, Dave Thomas and Colson Schultz on the controls, making sure we stay on the air at 620 CKRM and, of course, on the stream. You can find that on YouTube, sportscage.com, and our X account. But without further ado, we're going to jump out on the Western Pizza guest hotline with Crofty. Well, hey, Crofty, how'd you enjoy the Super Bowl?
I enjoyed it. I did. Well, the game was a little bit of a snoozer for the first half. And then we had a little bit of the Patriots had a little bit of sign of life there. Looked like they might make a game of it for 5 minutes, and then it was back to where. Kind of a snoozer, so.
No, that's totally fair. And I was just reminded off air here by Dave Thomas that we kind of have the Super Bowl of NASCAR coming up this weekend, right? In the Daytona 500. So I bet you're looking forward to that.
Yeah, the best thing about Super Bowl, that means it's 7 days to Daytona.
Especially this year.
Exactly. Yeah, so we got the Daytona 500 coming up this Sunday. Excited. I'll have a big pot of chili going on.
Ooh, you're a big chili guy.
This time of year, I love it. I got my mom's old recipe ingrained into my brain, and every get up early in the morning, make it so it can sit there and chili for about 3-4 hours before we eat it. So it's really good.
So, are you bringing us some?
Sure. Yeah, no problem. There's always leftovers.
Oh, you hear that, Dave?
Writing it down as we speak.
Maybe free lunch next week. I like that.
Sounds great.
Mr. Croft, when it comes to the Daytona 500, I'm not going to say much about the drivers, but you have to have a good team behind them, one that you can rely on. And when you're talking Croft Electric, natural tie-in right there, right? You never want to have to rely on your services if something goes wrong, but there's all kinds of great ways that you can ensure that you've got that reliability when you need it from Croft Electric.
That is a beautiful segue. So we've 28 years of experience, and we have staff of 36 gals and guys that have been there, done that in all different kind of scenarios. So whatever your problem is, if you run into something electrical, we're the call you want to make. Ideally, and we'd like to get out there and do one of our 24-point inspections to get ahead of some of these problems. But like everything, your car, your house, your whatever, there's going to be something that goes wrong once in a while. And you know what? We've seen it. Somebody in our organization has seen every problem that. Well, I shouldn't say that. That's electrical fuse asked to say every problem, but we've seen a good 90% of them probably. And we got somebody that can get out there and take a look. And then the great thing is with a team, we can. If that person that we send to help you fix it hasn't seen that problem, the rest of us are just a call away. So, and that's the great thing about having a great team like we do.
And of course, Dan Croft Electric. I get to call him Crofty. Dave Thomas has to call him Mr. Croft.
Well, I think we should have a bet on the 500, and then maybe just a friendly wager. And then maybe I go from not calling Dave anymore, and maybe Dave goes in.
Mr. Thomas to you, Dan.
Exactly, right?
Well, we're going to have a little bit of fun with that. But I also did want to mention here before we got to go to break, of course, you still have that preferred customer program. Still lots of opportunity to get in on that, right?
Oh, for sure. You can reach out to us on our website. It's our Croft Electric Preferred Customer Program. We're calling it Sign Up for Major Savings. You're going to save on 10% on material. You're going to save on our preferred labor rate. You're going to save because we're going to be more efficient when we come out to your home or business because we'll understand it and we'll know it because we've done that 24-point inspection.
Well, of course, you can get in touch with Dan Crofty over at Croft Electric. Call their office, 306-586-1333. You can catch him on the NASCAR Report and the Senior Hockey Report, as well as the Rider Broadcast Network during the regular season. Thanks so much for doing this, Dan.
Hey, have a great Monday, you guys.
You too. Right back at you. And look forward to that chili.
Perfect.
All right, I'm getting the sign. We got to take a break here. Coming up on the other side of the news, of course, Mr. Darian Durant. It's the Sports Cage on the home of local sports. 620 CKRM, streaming at sportscage.com.
We are the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM Regina, a Harvard media station.
CKRM.
Good evening, I'm Tanner Waldes-Scribner from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with 620 CKRM News for Echo Sound in Fort Capel. Stay connected with a new cell phone from Echo Sound. Call 306-332-6711 and by Capital Automotive Group. Capital's 100K giveaway is back. See capital100k.ca for more information. The government of Saskatchewan is boosting public safety in Regina with almost $6 million for the SCAN enforcement initiative. The funding supports the province's plan to add roughly 100 frontline officers, including $1.7 million from the Regina Police Service, to help hire and keep 27 officers. The province says strong partnerships with local police are the key to protecting residents. Michael Wegger, Public Safety Minister, explains how SCAN helps.
Through SCAN, our government has committed to supporting municipal police services in hiring up to 100 additional frontline officers for Saskatchewan. These officers will help address real challenges like violent crime, drug activity, and other social disorder concerns.
Officials say the investment will improve response times and support safer neighborhoods. Regina's mayor and police chief thanked the province, saying the added officers will help meet growing demands and strengthen trust with the community. Opposition New Democrats say recent changes to Saskatchewan's immigration program are preventing the vast majority of Ukrainians in the province from applying for permanent residency. Under new job approval letter restrictions, employers cannot apply if a worker's permit is valid for more than 6 months. Because Ukrainians under the federal emergency travel program hold renewable permits, most no longer qualify. Affected workers say repeated policy changes have left their families in limbo. The NDP is calling on the government to amend the eligibility rules or create a dedicated stream for Ukrainians, citing labor needs and humanitarian considerations. And there's a new push for British Columbia to succeed from Canada and form a new country with Alberta and Saskatchewan. About 100 supporters of the BC Prosperity Project group had their first meeting last Monday in Campbell River, a city on the east coast of Vancouver Island. But UBC political science lecturer Stuart Prest says support for BC separatism is limited to small pockets of the province. He adds that the aggressive actions by U.S. President Donald Trump have strengthened British Columbians' identity as Canadians. And the province is inviting residents to take part in Free Fishing Weekend from February 14th to 16th. No license is needed to fish on Saskatchewan water bodies that are open to angling. The government encourages people to enjoy the outdoors, but reminds them to check ice conditions, follow local rules, and clean up after themselves. Possession limits still apply, and a license is required to take fish out of the province. Details and safety tips can be found in the Saskatchewan Angler's Guide. At 620 CKRM News, read more stories from around your community and around the province at sastoday.ca and 620ckrm.com.
Picture this. You sit down to watch TV and suddenly your screen freezes harder than a triple axle. If you're ready for a smoother routine, Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer, has a better idea. Max TV Stream. More streaming, less buffering. A performance that actually sticks the landing. And while you're at it, glide into fast SaskTel internet and cell phone packages that are balanced, reliable, and make sense for your household. Smart entertainment, smart connectivity. Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Fort Qu'Appelle. EchoSound.ca.
Capital's 100K giveaway is back for 2026. The Capital Automotive Group is giving away $100,000 in cash and prizes with no strings attached. We're proud to be part of communities across Western Canada, and we know it's those communities that allow us to exist. So every once in a while, once a year to be exact, we're going to say thanks by giving away $100,000 in cash and prizes. To learn more and enter to win, check out capital100k.ca. Capital's 100K giveaway. Do not miss it.
Weather for Linex Regina. Sirius Protection Killer Looks, 1865 McCarra Street.
Cloudiness around through the evening, and the gusty wind remains through the evening, 20 to 35 kilometers per hour, gusting close to 40 at times. Late in the night, though, toward really the last couple of hours of darkness, the wind will start to settle down. So by the time we get into morning, it's down to the west-northwest at 10 to 20. Temperature at -8 overnight. The cloud cover will begin to break up as well toward morning, though there's likely still some cloudiness lingering before we turn partly sunny by mid-morning. -8 in the morning, 2 degrees for the afternoon on Tuesday. Clear sky, wind shifting into the south, falling off to -6 Tuesday night, and quite a bit of sunshine for Wednesday. We'll see temperatures back up to around 3 degrees. The positive temperatures will be pretty much the norm, though we are close to the line where areas getting farther north will be struggling to get to freezing. Areas south, closer to the border, will really soar. We'll be in the low single numbers Wednesday through Friday on average. With your 620 CKRM weather forecast, I'm Precision Weather meteorologist Phil Spivak.
For 40 years, the team from LineX Regina has been protecting vehicles across Saskatchewan, and we're changing with the times. 3 generations of our family have protected your vehicles. Our business has evolved, and we're not stopping now. The next generation is here. Same family, same commitment, ready for the next generation of truck beds, rocker panels, trailers, bumpers, and running boards in all kinds of colors. LineX Regina, 1865 McCarra Street, the next generation of protective coatings.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Visit satstoday.ca for the voices of Saskatchewan, your news, ag, and sports portal. Think of it like a newspaper from the old days, without the inky hands. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
You know, I'm not typically one to enjoy Mondays, but got to admit today's been a pretty good one. Not going to lie. We've had a lot of fun on the program so far. If you missed anything, you can always go back and listen in podcast form at sportscage.com. Wherever you find your fine podcasts. Jamie Campbell joined us a little bit earlier on. He was in the province this weekend in Weyburn and Swift Current doing some WCBL fundraising events with Tyler Heineman, so you can always go back and listen to that. Plus, we're going to play a little bit of that as we wrap up the show shortly before 6 o'clock. Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation dropped by to talk about some CFL free agency news. news. And we still have plenty to come, including Patch Chat. And our next guest going to be standing by right away here on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. It's a pizza known worldwide for a reason, loaded with toppings of Western Canadian ingredients and always cooked to perfection. It's the Monday edition of the Sports Cage, brought to you by Sask Today. Let's get to Darian Durant.
It's time for Double Talk with Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Darian Durant. Double Talk is brought to you by Campbell Safety Consulting. At Campbell Safety Consulting, we work towards helping companies create a competitive edge by executing a proactive health and safety program.
Hey, Darian joins us on another lovely Monday. Thanks for taking the time, buddy.
Absolutely.
You still
How
recovering?
you guys doing?
Good. Well, I mean, the game last night could have been better. Did you go watch it with your brother?
I did. It was a snooze. I was hoping for a more up tempo, high scoring game, but I'll take it. Sometimes you get those defensive battles, and that's just how it goes.
Your guy, Drake May.
Yeah.
What do
Get
you
right into it?
Well, no, like really, I thought in a way he was maybe let down by coaching a little bit, and the scheme just wasn't effective for him. How did you analyze his play and the offense of the New England Patriots?
That's exactly what I said. I said, why go into this type of game, this huge game? Seattle's defense is known for just putting pressure on quarterbacks. Your offensive line is not that strong. Why wouldn't you go in and try to run the ball? Take some pressure off of him, make it so that it's some manageable second and third down situations, and they just come out on first down and they throw the ball so much. I just don't understand. They only had 13 carries from their running backs the entire game. I mean, Walker himself from Seattle had 27 carries. So, I mean, even with a close scoring game, Seattle, the defense had been holding Seattle to field goals. I just don't understand why Josh McDaniels didn't just kind of take the pressure off of Drake May a little bit and just run the ball and see what their line could do up front against, running the ball against that Seattle front instead of backing up and just welcoming them to just pass rush pretty much the entire game.
I'm pretty sure that Luke Mullender would at least agree with me that defense wins championships, and I think that's what we saw last night, Darian. But being an offensive guy, that had to have been frustrating for you. I mean, but what did you like in Sam Darnold's game?
I mean, he did what he's pretty much been doing all season, just taking care of the ball, not putting his team in bad situations, trying to end every single drive with the kick, whether it be a field goal or a punt. It didn't matter. He took care of the ball, and I think he learned from what happened in Minnesota last year in the playoffs when, he went 14-3, got into the playoff game, and was just out of character, turning the ball over, not being able to, just looking lost out there. So I thought he kept his composure. He did what he had to do. Even though he only had a 50% completion percentage, he still did what he had to do, made the throws when necessary. So, sometimes it's not going to be pretty, but when you get into a game as big as this one, it's all about taking care of the ball, and he did a great job of that.
Drake May reportedly got the shot in the shoulder, right, to try to numb, to be able to play through pain and everything. How difficult is that to try to put out of your mind and approach it just as any other game in the biggest game of the year?
Yeah, it's tough to play when you're injured, especially on your throwing shoulder, man. I've been in that situation, having to get a needle before the game to numb the pain, and it's not easy. And that just makes it more important for your offensive coordinator to take the pressure off of you and not, expose you to so many hits. I mean, everyone's been talking about Will Campbell the entire season and how he's been struggling. He's the Patriots' left tackle, and how he's been struggling against, physical rushers. Seattle has a physical defensive line. So with Drake May being banged up and not being able to have his typical accuracy, it just makes it even more important for your offensive coordinator to take that pressure off of you, find ways to get the ball to the backs. I mean, if you watch the Patriots in past Super Bowls, I mean, James White and some of these other receiving backs would have 10, 12 catches out of the backfield. I mean, James White one year was kind of competing with Edelman, I think, for Super Bowl MVP. So he knows how to get his guys the ball. I just don't understand why he didn't find ways to get Henderson and these other running backs the ball in space.
If you're listening to the media for game planning, it's probably not going well. And Chris Collingsworth last night, over and over and over again, why isn't Drake May using his feet? Was it because of the shoulder, or was it something that Seattle was doing?
No, Seattle put, especially when they had a tendency for a pass coming, they would put both of their D tackles in the offensive A gaps. So they would make sure they got a good push up the middle. So Drake, if you look at Drake May on film, he likes to escape the pocket through the middle. He likes to run up. He's not a guy who escapes, around the perimeter left or right. He likes to run up in the pocket. So Seattle's D tackles just did a great job of keeping their rush lanes and keeping Drake May inside the pocket and taking away those escape lanes. And so that's all about the coaching of Seattle's defense and making it hard for Drake. It's easy for us to sit on TV and say, run the ball, Drake, or use your legs. But if you look at some of those, even some of the replays you showed there, their defensive tackles were pushing the pocket and running was pretty much impossible.
I know that it's very surprising that Rider Nation would ever be critical of a quarterback. And saying that, though, I vividly remember when Henry Burris was wearing green and white, and it was very early in his career as a starter here in Saskatchewan. In the fifth quarter call-in show, a lot of callers were calling in and saying, why don't the Roughriders move him out of the pocket, move the pocket and allow him to scramble a little bit and then cut the field in half so you're only making reads on half of the field? Is that anywhere near something that should try to be executed by an offense?
I mean, it just depends, man. I mean, sometimes the defenses take that away. When you're playing against an aggressive defensive coordinator, he's putting extra bodies at the line of scrimmage and making it hard for you to get outside on the perimeter. Then he's taking those things away. I mean, a lot of people know when you have a mobile quarterback, your Henry Burris, Drake Mays, guys of that nature. Sometimes you have to take away their scrambling lanes and their running ability and turn them into pure passers to see if they can beat you from the pocket. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Guys get hot sometimes and they have good days. But if you're playing percentages, you'd rather take your chances with a quarterback that's able to run to keep him in the pocket and see what he can do from there.
So, we tossed this one out earlier because our unclutch performer of the day was a streaker. He was only shirtless, but still, he was running across the field during the Super Bowl at last night's game. And then Roscoe messaged us on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, wanted to know if Darian Durant remembers there ever being a streaker on the field during a big moment in a game.
Oh, man, I can't remember. I was so locked in times like that, especially big games. I do not remember. You guys recall any Western Finals or Grey Cups, any streakers out there?
Off the top of my head, I don't.
I remember a Labor Day, but I don't know if I want to.
Yeah, Labor Day, I feel like, is when they would typically happen. But how do you stay locked in like that? I can't even imagine the distractions.
No, I mean, some guys, if most quarterbacks, you're talking to the OC, you're trying to figure out personnel, getting guys together. But the other guys in the huddle, they see this stuff. So I'm sure they can remember if there was a time when a guy ran on the field for sure, because they're right there looking at it. So.
I love the game of adjustments and the chess match that happens during a game. And obviously with an extended halftime, you've got lots of opportunity to look at film, to scheme, to plan, to do whatever you can. How many adjustments do you think were made? And did you see anything that caught your eye that, hey, they figured this out?
I think with Seattle's defense, they were doing a lot of defensive back blitzes, and I think I heard a stat where they had the fewest defensive back blitzes this entire season, and then they get in the Super Bowl and they do it at like 10 times or so. So, I mean, just the adjustments of seeing that New England's offensive line can't handle the pressures that they've been bringing. They continue to do that. They took away some of the run game because, look, it was still a 12-point game going into the fourth quarter. I thought New England could have still stuck to the script a little bit and not try to force the ball downfield so much. But, I mean, it just looks like all the adjustments were made by Seattle. It seems like their coaches were just into it more. They had a feel for what New England's offense was doing. New England's defense played pretty good against Sam Darnold, don't get me wrong, but the way this Seattle defense just shut down New England's offense, I mean, this is just something to be remembered.
I know I sound like I'm anti-Drake May, this coming from the guy that started him on his fantasy football team for much of the season. But did you see nerves in him at all? The one interception that he threw over the middle, I thought it looked like he just threw to the wrong area.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say nerves because it's not like his accuracy wasn't there early or he was making bad reads. I just think that the pressure got to him. I think that Seattle's defense was pounding him, sack fumbles. I mean, when you've been sacked 4 or 5 times, and if you look at the previous games throughout the playoffs, he's been pressured, he's been sacked a lot. So I just didn't think he just looked comfortable. And then the interceptions in the fourth quarter. I just think at that point in time he was just trying to force it, and he had been rattled pretty much by this defense. I mean, at that point you're just trying to make a play. You feel like you get in desperation mode, so to speak. So, but I don't think he was rattled early. I just think that Josh McDaniels didn't call a good game and put him in situations where he could be successful.
Would you ever get nervous before a game?
Oh, for sure. I was nervous before every game. I think, sometimes they're healthy nerves and then they're bad nerves. I would like to say that I had the healthy nerves where it's a little more anxious and it's so much time. It's so much downtime before games, right? You're sitting there waiting, you go through warm-ups, you have to come back in, you have like a 20-30 minute wait before you go out. So I think my nervousness just came from just anxiousness, just ready to get out there and ready to play. But a lot of guys feel that way, man. Look, you're fighting for your life every single play when you're out there. It's your career at stake. It's the type of money that could change guys' lives. So it's just so much at stake each and every play, each and every game that if you're not nervous, then I just think you don't care.
It's a fair point.
I thought, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously you have way more experience, Darian, than I do, but to me, I thought New England's offense was most effective when they went into tempo, right? And they weren't huddling and they were going. And I go back to the Saskatchewan Roughriders in last year against Montreal. Montreal was the team. Calgary kind of started it a little bit, but they started going tempo and causing disruption for the defense that they were facing. What does tempo offense do for an offense, and how hard is it to execute that?
Well, first and foremost, the defense doesn't have time to get set. They're scrambling around trying to get calls. It's a lot harder for the defense to communicate when they're not able to get back to the huddle, and you have to look to the sideline and communicate through 12 guys or 11 guys down south. So it's hard on the defense. You get more vanilla coverages. There's not a lot of exotic blitzes and things that happen when it's up tempo. So for an offense, you can pretty much attack the vanilla defenses that you're getting. You don't have to worry about getting hit in the back of your head or things like that a lot when there's up tempo, and it makes it easier for a quarterback. You don't have time to think. You're just reacting. So there's a lot of advantages that come with up tempo offense, and I think for a young quarterback like Drake May, you saw when they sped up the game a little bit, it was a lot easier for him. They took the thinking out of it, and he was able to react more. So it definitely can be beneficial.
So is that all going on first read then when you're in tempo primarily, or what's the game plan? How does that factor in? Do you have the OC in your ear telling you the play call and going from there?
Well, it's something that you prepare for all week. You're looking for certain coverages. I wouldn't say one read and lock in, and then you'll get lost. But you definitely need to go through your reads. But it's just a lot easier. You don't have to worry about the pass rush so much because those big guys, they rest in between plays. So when you're no huddle, you don't give them time to rest. It definitely slows down the pass rush. That's first and foremost. Now you have more time in the pocket, and you're able to locate some of your receivers downfield. And I think that's a huge thing when you're dealing with such a great pass rush, and with Seattle's pass rush, slowing those guys down with an up-tempo offense would have been something that Josh McDaniels should have done when you look back. But I mean, it's just so many benefits to, especially if you're struggling, right? You can't get any momentum. You can't seem to, there are a lot of punts going on. You can't seem to stay on the field and keep drives going. So there's so many benefits to having an up-tempo offense, and a lot of coaches should go to it a lot sooner, I think.
Real hard-hitting question here, Darian. What'd you think of the halftime show?
Besides not understanding anything, like I said, the only song I know of Bad Bunny's is Monaco, and my kids like that song, and I don't mind it. But look, I mean, I understand it's a business, and I understand there are certain things behind it that us as casual fans don't really understand, and I'll just leave it at that. But they're good songs, and they seem to be well known around the world. And he's one of the top artists in the world, so I'll give him credit for that.
So what are you doing at halftime, right? Because it's longer for the Grey Cup, it's longer for the Super Bowl, and I know that routine is such a big, strict regimen that you want to follow and make it like any other game, but you've got so many other things happening. What do you change anything at halftime of the Grey Cup?
You try not to. You try to have a certain routine, but maybe you add a couple minutes on each and everything you would typically do. So if it's for hydration, then you want to spend a little bit more time relaxing and getting your fluids in you. If it's watching the iPad, reviewing the different coverages or different things that the opposing team is showing you, then you add a couple minutes on that. So I think that you keep the same routine, the 3 or 4 different things that you do. You just spend a little bit more time doing it. And look, it'll go by fast. I'm sure it does. For those guys, when you're in the heat of the, it seems like a long time when you're on the outside looking in, but when you're actually there, and by the time you talk to one coach and you get some fluid in you and you gather the offense up and you're talking to the guys, it's time to go back on the field.
Well, Darian, now that the NFL season is over, we just look forward to the next CFL season. So we are taking a break next Monday. We're going to be having the stat here in Saskatchewan, of course, but we'll talk to you again on the 23rd. I look forward to it.
Yep, sounds good. Let's get back to some CFL ball.
Let's go. Darian Durant, the one, the only, the legendary. Thanks again for joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline.
Thanks, guys.
He joins us every Monday that we do the Cage, and we always appreciate his take. This is the Monday edition of the Sports Cage, brought to you by Sask Today. The Voices of Saskatchewan. Visit sasktoday.ca, Saskatchewan's leading online news, egg, and sports portal. Think of it like a newspaper from the old days without all the ink on your hands. We will take a quick break here, and we'll be back on the other side. It's the Sports Cage on the home of local sports on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.
Winter in Saskatchewan tests everything, our patience, vehicles, and sometimes our bumpers. From icy parking lot dings to serious highway mishaps, choosing local matters. At Regina Motor Products Collision Center, we're Saskatchewan owned, run, and we drive these roads too. An SGI accredited full-service collision center working on all makes and models. Submit your SGI claim and book your appraisal. It's easy. When you need repairs you can trust, it's neighbors helping neighbors. Regina Motor Products Collision Center, south at Highways 1 and 6 Albert Street, rmpchevrolet.com.
Get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
Been a long day. Your feet hurt, your brain is fried, and now supper? You're staring into the fridge, contemplating your options, but your energy says, let's just not. Now imagine golden, crispy pizza loaded with all the Greek favorites. Feta, olives, tangy tomato sauce, fresh veggies, and melted mozzarella. Every bite is like a Mediterranean vacation for your taste buds, and you didn't lift a finger. Western Pizza. Dine in or take out today.
Get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Steelcraft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
All right, let's take a quick peek here at your Sports Ticker. I'll get there. I promise. We're almost there. Okay, Saskatchewan U18 AAA boys, the Warriors in Notre Dame to take on the Hounds tonight at 7:30. When it comes to the Winter Olympics, couple of things to keep in mind. Mixed doubles curling, Canada versus Switzerland. That took place in the wee hours of the morning. Jocelyn Peterman and Brett Gallant defeated Switzerland 8-4, but they are done in the tournament. And then in women's hockey, Canada beat Czechia 5-1. That was just this afternoon. Sportscage.com poll. Did you enjoy the halftime show at the Super Bowl? Let us know what you think. You can vote right now on the poll, sportscage.com. Of course, that was the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Steelcraft Doors. We'll be back in a bit, or do we want to do Sports Select, maybe?
Sprinkle time?
Yeah, let's take a look at your sprinkle of the day. Colson's going to get us all hooked up here, and let's see what we should sprinkle on.
All right. I'm ready.
Let's see what we got. I made $13 whole last night on the Super Bowl.
13, wow.
One of the little things that I sprinkled on was the color of the Gatorade.
And you were right. It was, what color was it?
I picked yellow-green.
Yellow-green.
Because they lumped them in together, and it was yellow. That's typically what it is. It had the worst odds, so I think I put like $2 down, and I won $5.
Wow, good for you.
Something like that.
Look at you
Can't remember the specifics. I gamble on all of the best stuff.
I guess so.
No, I just, you know what? I needed to put together a little something. Okay?
Okay.
It's a Super Bowl that only comes around once a year. So let's see. Sports Select is one of those places that you can go to sprinkle on any type of sports that you'd like. It doesn't just have to be football. It can be any multitude of things. Okay, so right now you got NBA that's showing up on the screen here. So the Pistons versus the Hornets. You also have the Bulls versus the Nets tonight, Jazz and Heat. So if you want to put together, a fun little sprinkle, you can absolutely dive into that. By the way, it is 100% legal. Getting in on more of the sports action, it's super easy. SportsSelect.com. Simply make your picks online. It'll pump out a QR code for you. That's when you go to your local Lotto Spot retailer, or you can go just fill out the slips. Old-fashioned. Every bet 100% legal, chance of winning cash in hand. Sports Select. When you're ready to play, bet on the original, which is Sports Select. Must be 18 plus, and you must play responsibly. What are you thinking here, Dave? Are you following a lot of NBA this season?
There's some interesting games in the NBA tonight. There's 10 of them that are on the go. The Bulls and Brooklyn Nets I find intriguing tonight in the fact that the Bulls can surprise teams at times, which is a touch scary, if you will. Pistons Hornets is going to be an interesting one as well. There's also a battle of the first and worst teams in the Western Conference tonight. So if you're looking to be safe, like I usually am, that's how you go.
I know that's typically the route I take. I like that Pistons Hornets game.
Okay.
But I think I want to go Hornets.
That's not a bad call.
Yeah, I think I need to go Hornets on that one. And then maybe we need to do Bulls, Nets. I like the Bulls.
Interesting.
So Dave's not doing that.
You can go Olympic hockey as well.
Oh, we could do Olympic hockey. Maybe let's slide on over to that and see what we got.
Sweden, Japan tonight, Germany, Italy. That game's going to be a
Germany, Italy?
Germany and Italy, yes, will be very close.
Yeah, that's a tough call. What are the odds on this one? Okay, slight favorite for Germany, like half a point favorite. And then Italy, yeah.
And the over-under at 4.5 is intriguing as well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to be taking the over on that one.
You can also look ahead, of course, Canada, the U.S. coming up.
Futures, as they call them, Dave. Futures. I mean, I'm always going to take Canada over the U.S. This is the women's game that we're talking about, of course, on tomorrow afternoon, 1:10 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm definitely going to be sprinkling on Canada to take that game, and maybe it's because I'm a homer, but I'm okay with that.
Well, we'll have to wait and see how Marie-Philippe Poulin is after she left today's game.
True.
With a leg injury in the first period.
Yeah. I have hope.
I'm not suggesting not to. A lot. Five is the over-under, which I think is probably apropos, but a half point, or, half goal favor.
Same thing.
For Canada. So it's going to be a tight one.
It's fine. It was a chaotic sprinkle of the day for you. You can do the same thing. All you need to do is go to sportsselect.com. And yes, as Dave mentioned, there are plenty of futures. So you can bet on everything from Daytona 500, which is going to be coming up. So you can put some money down on that, do a little sprinkle action. Stanley Cup, NBA Final, NCAA Soccer, and of course, Olympics. We got it all. Sprinkle of the day brought to you by Sports Select. Now, we do still have Patch Chat just around the corner, so take a quick break, and we'll be back on the other side with Zach Lansard. This is the Sportscage, and it's on the home of local sports on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.
And the puck's dropped on your financial future. Are you skating toward retirement? Don't get caught offside when it comes to your work pension, farm succession, or changing family needs. Chad Reach, Senior Wealth Advisor, and the team at GP Financial Services and Aviso Wealth are your local independent advisors helping Saskatchewan families plan for retirement and beyond. 306-584-2755, gpfinancial.ca. Mutual funds and other securities are offered through Aviso Wealth, a division of Aviso Financial Inc.
SaskToday.ca is your local news source, proudly serving communities all across Saskatchewan. Sask Today's team of local journalists are on the ground focusing on local topics that matter to you. From agriculture, local community news, sport, and more. Find it all at SaskToday.ca. Sign up for our daily news digest at SaskToday.ca. From Harvard Media, everywhere.
Good evening, everyone. everybody. Bob Cole with Harry Neal.
If you grew up watching hockey, you remember Jeremy Roenick. The goals, the moments, the personality that jumped off the screen. He didn't just play the game, he created hockey memories. Now the player behind those moments is coming to Yorkton. Jeremy Roenick, NHL superstar and Hockey Hall of Famer, live and unfiltered, sharing the moments you remember and the stories you've never heard. The Yorkton Terriers' 3rd annual Celebrity Sports Dinner, presented by the Kinsman Club of Yorkton, February 21st at St. Mary's Cultural Center. Tickets are limited. Nights like this don't come around twice. Visit YorktonTerriers.com now.
This is Sportscage. Watch our live stream at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Well, thank you for making the time on this Monday afternoon. Appreciate you coming along for the ride. My name is Tegan Whitco. I'm joined by voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders, Mr. Dave Thomas. He's to my left, and to my right, Colson Schultz, who is the producer of the show, keeping us on the air at 620 CKRM, on the stream at sportscage.com, as well as our YouTube channel, X. We're making it real easy for you to find us anywhere you'd like. And of course, today's show is brought to you by sasktoday.ca. So you can always check it out for the latest in local news and local sports headlines, all your ag news. We got everything covered for you. And boy, it's been a fun show. We've had a lot to discuss this afternoon. Of course, we had Jamie Campbell. He popped on the program. He was in Swift Current this weekend, as well as Weyburn, Saskatchewan, home of the famous KFC buffet. So he popped in not only to talk about his little Saskatchewan mini tour with Tyler Heineman. He was so gracious with his time. And I will always make time to speak with Jamie Campbell. He is such an iconic broadcaster and just such a good guy overall.
Yeah, top drawer person, but boy, is he good at what he does. Like, he knows that Blue Jays, he knows Major League Baseball inside and out. So really cool what he does.
He also had an opportunity to speak with us a little bit about Buck Martinez. That was some shocking news when it came out on Friday that Buck Martinez was done. He had called his last Toronto Blue Jays game, his last MLB game, period, in Game 7 of the World Series when the Jays, of course, lost to the Dodgers in Game 7.
Yeah, and you know what? For years, Buck Martinez, not only a broadcaster with the Toronto Blue Jays, but also earned his stripes south of the border, right? Working with ESPN quite substantially, and I believe he was on Fox as well for a small period of time. But again, quality human being, and yeah, it was a little bit surprising, and you could hear the emotion in his voice, right? Even though he lost part of it, but you could hear that emotion in the fact that, not going to have Buck Martinez on the group chat anymore.
Which is sad to think about, but it was time for him to move on, right? I mean, you can never fault someone for taking that next step in their life, and that it's a hard decision that everybody needs to make at some point or another. But Buck Martinez will no longer be the voice of Blue Jays baseball, which is really sad to say out loud, but at least he got to do another postseason run with the Blue Jays.
If only it would have ended different, right?
Yeah. I mean, could you, it would have just been incredibly perfect if the Jays went out on top with a World Series victory in his final game, Game 7, World Series. Like, no broadcaster can ask for more than that.
No.
To go out on top in that fashion. But it does also make you think maybe he was considering this even last year.
I think it's probably been on his mind a couple of years now since he battled cancer and won. So
yeah.
I think so. And I had no idea that his wife had gone through an illness as well. So it puts a lot of things in perspective, right?
It certainly does. And sports are just sports at the end of the day. And we're sad to see Buck Martinez call his last game. But he leaves behind an incredible legacy. And if you missed that conversation with Jamie Campbell, you can always go back and listen to it again, podcast form, wherever you get your podcasts. We also talked a little bit of CFL free agency news with Justin Dunk from 3 Down Nation. So he popped in and had a little conversation with us as well. We did your clutch performer. Darian Durant popped in to talk a little bit of Super Bowl. And yeah, he went and watched the game with his brother. So that was a lot of fun to hear about as well. We are just waiting to see if we can get linked up with Zach Lansard from the Regina Pats, who is hopefully going to be able to join us for Pat's Chat, which is really exciting for Zach because he is actually invited to the Top Prospects game, and that's going to be coming up here in a little bit. I mean, boy, the Pats had a couple of games at home this weekend. You said you made it to one, right?
Yeah, I was there Friday night when they played the Saskatoon Blades, got off to a good start, and I really liked the battle and the compete of the team. Liam Pugh. What a shot. If you haven't seen it online, comes in off the left wing side, buries it in a spot that was probably just a little bit bigger than the actual size of the puck in the top left-hand corner of the net over the Blades goaltender's shoulder. So it was pretty good. And unfortunately for the Pats, they just couldn't close it out. They still got a point, but again, they need 2 points, and the 3-point games are starting to haunt and hurt them a little bit. Of course, they are up in Prince Albert tomorrow and then head to Saskatoon on Wednesday before returning home for a home-and-home with the Moose Jaw Warriors Friday and Saturday. So
those are going to be important games as well.
They all are.
We're scoreboard watching at this point, right? I'm just pulling up the WHL standings.
Yeah, just a couple points out.
Yeah, so you have the Regina Pats in 9th right now, but they do have 2 games in hand versus the Red Deer Rebels, who are just above them in the conference standings. So, yeah, the Warriors are also in 7th place. So, if they can take 2 of those games this weekend, ooh.
Well, they're a huge, critical 4 points.
Massive,
right? Yeah. And, again, Prince Albert's no slouch. Prince Albert's going to be a tough game, but, again, the Pats have played
top of the conference, are they not? Yeah, they're still... they've already clinched.
Yes. Absolutely. And the Blades and the Pats have had such a good, not rivalry, but match up so well against one another that it's going to be the Blades are really struggling at home right now, which is a huge difference. But again, they've got the Pats coming off back to back, and right, there's all that. But going into the weekend, the Regina Pats had played the fewest games out of anyone in the Western Hockey League. And now, all of a sudden, they're going to catch up with everybody as they've got a whole bunch of games piled into 3 weeks here.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of downtime. There's not a lot of rest. And they know the urgency that's there and needs to be there each and every night. But again, with a young team, sometimes you can start looking at the big picture. And I think head coach Brad Haroff has done it well in the fact that he's keeping the team really focused shift to shift and doing the best that he can. But the young guys are leading the way. And again, Zach Lansard is a lot of fun to watch play hockey. And he'll get that opportunity at the Prospects game coming up next week, right?
And if I'm, next week. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the Pats are heading into a week that has 5 games and 7 nights.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So they are going to be very, very busy. They
Almost
are going
like
to
an
be...
NHL schedule in an Olympic year, right? But again, they do have travel on their side a little bit, right? So they get the home with Moose Jaw Friday, Saturday, pardon me. And then Monday, they're home to the Swift Current Broncos on holiday Monday. So, again, they've got an opportunity to get some points this week, and they just need to bear down and get them.
Yes. I also did just want to mention here very quickly, we did have Connor Bear on the show last Monday, heading into the Indigenous Celebration game this weekend, and he had a big showing. Him and Rollison, who did incredible during the Pats skills competition.
Okay, yeah.
They both had a pretty good showing, actually, they still fell to the Hitmen over the weekend on Saturday night, but I did just want to give a little shout out to Connor Bear and Shea Rollison for really showing up in that game, and the energy was incredible in that building.
Yeah.
They had the some drumming that was taking place on the ice as part of their Indigenous celebration game, and that just absolutely invigorated the crowd. So it was pretty cool to be a part of.
Yeah, and again, Connor Bear just proves that when you come on the Sports Cage and Pat's Chat, you do well. Just saying.
What?
Just
it's like
saying.
we're good luck.
Throwing that out there.
I mean, I won't dispute it.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah. So we are looking forward to seeing what can be done when we get into that top prospects game. I'm just pulling up here to see if there are any other familiar names that we might be looking forward to watching. So let me see here. Of course, we know that there is going to be Daxon Rudolph from the Prince Albert Raiders. So that will be someone who is involved in this one. Ben Macbeth from the Calgary Hitmen.
Yeah.
Also going to be in attendance. Yep. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nice showing from him. Liam Ruck from the Medicine Hat Tigers. Marcus Ruck, an alternate captain for the team. Let me see here. We also have Ryan Lynn from the Vancouver Giants. Haven't had a chance to look at a lot of Vancouver this season, if I'm being honest, because they don't come here very often.
No.
Unfortunately.
This year's the year.
This year's the year. Jacob Vanacek, Tri-City Americans, also going to be an alternate captain on this one. So, yeah, it's looking pretty intriguing. I'm looking forward to hearing exactly what comes out of this top prospects game. This is the leadership group that we were just running through here. It was only announced Friday last week, if I'm not mistaken.
It's interesting. This game is interesting because there is so much pressure on the players because all of the scouts from all of the teams are going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Olympic break on, most of the general managers might be there as well. So it's a really big opportunity. These guys know that going in. But it's also the balance between individual skill and team skill that you have to factor in, right? Like you can go ahead and light up your guy on the wall or whatever, but if your team doesn't have success and you don't help the team in the systems you're trying to run, so on and so forth, it's a delicate balance. I had an opportunity to do one, and this will show you how old I am, because the guy that was the top prospect of the game went first overall and is already retired in Jay Bomeister. And watching him on the ice was incredible at the top prospects game. And they do it a little different now, right, in the way that they're doing it, but it's still a really good opportunity to showcase. And again, that's what Zach is going to be focused on, I'm sure, is making sure that he showcases himself appropriately and is ready to go when the puck drops, because again, it's a huge opportunity.
And it is a delicate balance. Because you want to make sure that you're still showing up and providing for your team in the midst of doing all of this other stuff in preparation for that top prospects game. It's got to be a little bit tough, because I think oftentimes, and I brought this up before, like we forget players like Zach Lansard, he's 17.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure, right?
Mature well beyond his years.
You're playing a team game where you want to individually showcase yourself.
I have noticed a lot of scouts showing up more often than not at the Durant Center as of late. So you can smell that prospects game is certainly coming. It's an exciting time of year, though.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity for these players to really show up. You know what? Maybe we should talk a little bit of Olympics here. We did mention earlier 5-1 Canada beat Czechia, which, as we heard from Daniela Ponticelli, play-by-play voice of the PWHL, and also calling some games at the Olympics for women's hockey. Big win for Canada, because Czechia was expected to be a pretty tough contender.
Yeah, they kind of had an up-and-down tournament so far. That was already their fourth game of the tournament.
Which is wild, because the men's side hasn't quite started yet.
No, and for the women, right, so they've played 4 games. That was their second game. It should have been their third, obviously, if they played Finland in the opening. But, yeah, it was, that's a big win for Canada. They've got the Americans next, and that's going to be the test, right? So it always
That's when it gets really fun, because there's that rivalry.
Yeah. Also, out of Italy, now, we were talking about Lindsey Vonn, right? So she blew out her ACL a week before the competition in the downhill skiing event. And so over the weekend, she competed on a torn ACL, which, again, that's heroic in its own right. But she crashed into a gate. Now, again, we will never know if the knee was a factor or not in that crash.
We actually kind of know.
You're going to say it was?
It wasn't. She came out on her Instagram. I had the post up and now it's gone. But she came out on her Instagram and said she was 5 feet too high going into the corner, hooked her arm into that flag, into the gate.
Yep.
Yeah, and that caused her to crash, and she is likely going to need multiple surgeries to reconstruct her leg, a completely fractured tibia.
Yes.
Whichever one it is.
And her dad says that if he has any say, that this will be the end of her Olympic career. And I'm like, wow. That's a tough decision, but yeah, it was her arm that clipped the gate for sure. And like you say now, obviously she said she was 5 feet high. And what is the margin of error when you're going down? And again, we were talking about this at my house, right? It's not like it's the bunny hill. Like you were going straight down and you were flying. And again, a 5 foot error is just gigantic. So
5 inches, not 5 feet.
5 inches.
That's my error.
That's your error.
Yeah.
5 inches.
Yeah.
Good grief. That's even more scary. Right?
Yeah.
When you think about it, 5 inches.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was her coach or another coach that I saw talking about it, but because they are going so fast, like everyone knows when you go skiing, your skis pop off when you crash, right?
Yes.
But because they're going so fast, you have to increase the torque to not just have your skis pop off accidentally, right? So the tension on their skis, they don't come off unless you're going over 120 kilometers an hour. She was only going 80. So her skis stayed on, which probably did not help her crash.
No.
So, but that is bonkers to me that it's like, oh yeah, we need to increase the tension on your skis so they stay on, because they could pop off by accident because you're going so fast. Like, Winter Olympic sports are just like
not for the faint of heart, right?
Yeah, they're all intense. you step wrong on a curling sheet and you're in concussion protocol. Like, even curling, which is kind of the chillest of them.
Oh, I would dispute that, buddy.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding.
Fight.
I am just saying, compared to going down a mountain at 120 kilometers an hour.
Yeah. Because a lot of people have blades on their feet in these games, or, they're falling down hundreds of feet.
Okay. Can I turn the page for just a second?
No.
So did you see the opening ceremony? Who was the flag bearer for Germany going in? Leon Draisaitl?
Oh, yes. Yes.
And
this is your whole Friday thing, isn't it, again?
He responded to me.
Oh.
Well, I guess everyone,
Did
right?
you personally DM? Did you slide into his DMs?
No, I didn't. But again, he called out right before the Olympic break, right? And again, the text line blew up, and I was called out for doing such a Saskatchewan thing and making a controversy when there's no controversy, blah, blah, blah. But the way he called out his coaches, the management, his teammates, the goaltending in the last game, right? So I'm like, man, maybe it's time. Would you consider moving on from him, right? And then you can go ahead and again, anybody that acquires him probably is going to be trading you draft picks and everything else. You turn that capital into other players, right? Go from there. If you're the Edmonton Oilers, you're in win now.
Right.
Would you ever consider that? Considering that, again, you've already got Connor McDavid there. But anyways, Olympic ceremony, opening ceremony, Leon Draisaitl is asked about his comments. No, I was misquoted. I was taken out of context. So Leon Draisaitl isn't going anywhere. And he still loves his teammates, the management, the coaches, and the goaltending.
I can't see him going anywhere either.
I'm just saying, would you think about it, though? Sometimes you get addition by subtraction.
That's true. But if anybody in the Canadian NHL market needs to maybe think about that, I think it's the Leafs.
Austin Matthews, you're thinking?
Yeah.
Really?
At this point, do you not just start over?
I don't know if you can, because you've got so much invested, right?
Well,
in a salary
but what they've been doing has not been working.
No, in a salary cap world, right?
True. And maybe Matthews isn't the guy you get rid of, but I think you maybe need to take a real hard look at that roster. And I'm not just here to be a Leafs hater.
But yeah,
I am a Leafs hater, though.
Would you tear it? You would tear it all down, and
absolutely.
See, I just
sell the farm.
Just don't know where you start.
Right? That's the problem.
Again, when they traded Fraser Minton that year, and again, I get it. You have to give up something to get something.
Yes.
Fraser Minton in the year, or I guess quite a full season that he played in Saskatoon, was dynamic. Captain of Team Canada, and when they gave him up, they got him as a second-round pick, which I thought was a steal, and then they gave him up to Boston.
It was a second?
Second, yeah.
Okay.
Fraser was a second-round pick.
Jeez.
And so, yeah, he's in Boston now. He's flourishing. He's doing well for a young player in the National Hockey League. So, again, if you had him in your lineup, that would probably look good, but then you wouldn't have potentially made your run to the first round of the playoffs, I don't know. I'm just saying. But you make a great point with Austin Matthews. And it's going to be interesting. I really think it's going to be, I really, really, really am curious to see how he performs at the Olympics.
Well, apparently he's okay with the ice because, and I quote, the ice isn't great in Toronto either, but you live with it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Making friends with the staff at Scotiabank Arena. But I'm curious, right? Because remember, didn't he find... Okay, I'm trying to figure this out. Didn't Austin Matthews, wasn't he on the ice and maybe was responsible in the Four Nations Cup game-winning goal?
I believe he was on the ice.
Right? That was him. I'm sure it was him that didn't have his guy in front or left his check. But anyways, just saying that I really think that Austin Matthews, and you're right, you make a great point when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs as to whether or not
rebuild.
Maybe again, it's a huge,
you got rid of Marner.
Contract. It's a huge contract to eat.
Yeah. And Marner obviously was not the problem.
No, he didn't. No, you're right. He wasn't single-handedly the problem. No.
I mean, I'm also not a NHL general manager, and I'm not about to sit here and make recommendations on something that I'm not able to speak to. But something's got to give.
Yeah, something has to change in Toronto for sure. Absolutely.
Not sure what that is. Let's put in a phone call.
Yeah, you're going to call up Brad Treliving and just give him a call?
Come on the show.
Come on the show.
Tell us what your game plan is.
And let us know how you feel about Austin Matthews, will you?
I mean, there's been head coaches in the past who have not been quiet about that. So in Toronto,
Austin Matthews?
Well, just players in general. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole, though.
No, but I'm curious. Like, this Olympic tournament was going to tell a lot of things about a lot of different players, I think. You know what I mean?
Like, specifically on the men's side?
Yeah, on the men's side, for sure.
Yeah.
On the women's side, too. Absolutely it will. But on the men's side, you'll find out, you can't... If we learned anything from the Saskatchewan Roughriders this year, is that winning is contagious, I would submit.
Yes. Right?
And you look at the number of Grey Cup champions that there were on the Saskatchewan Roughriders from other teams in key spots, right? You can't make up that experience. And I would almost say that sometimes you either have it or you don't. Do you know what I mean?
They had it this year.
They had it this year. And if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs, maybe you find out whether or not Austin Matthews has it. Because he's got to be a leader on that team at the Olympics for them. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, but it's also another thing to be put with the world's best versus best. You are being put with all of these players who you typically battle against.
Yeah.
Now you set aside all of your rivalries, you set aside everything else, and you are just focused on, well, who was it? Was it Macklin Celebrini who was talking about Connor McDavid? And he's like, I hope he does awful tonight, and next week he shows up.
Yeah.
Like, that's the mentality that you need to have, and I think that's maybe why guys were being a little soft last week.
How would you like this one? So the athletes, you stay in the Village, right? You're not staying in a 5-star hotel or anything. How do you like this? The U.S. has got the Kachuk brothers staying together in the same room.
Oh, no.
Could you imagine how that would go?
Oh, no.
Like, they're a set of bunk beds away from a movie.
It's like a podcast you can never turn off.
That's right.
I don't like that.
What was that movie with Will Ferrell and the other guy that's in all of Will Ferrell's movies? They were in Talladega Nights together.
Oh, there's probably so many.
But they were brothers. But anyways, I'm just saying.
Like Step Brothers?
Step Brothers or something like that. Maybe that's what it was.
It's going to bug me now that I don't know his name.
I've got that picture in my mind with the two of them pulling the beds together or something, or bunk beds happening, or
they have more room for activity.
Just look out.
Yeah, did we just become best friends? It's that guy you're thinking about, right?
I think that's the guy. Yeah, that's the guy.
John C. Reilly.
Thank you.
Yes. I had to Google it. I will not take any credit for it. Oh, Bulls fan. 2K7, are you talking about Step Brother? Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us.
That was
and saving our tails on the YouTube chat here, which you can always join in the conversation for, or on the Prairie Land Rentals text line at 306-936-6262. It doesn't look like we're going to have Zach Lansard join us, unfortunately. I think we're having some technical difficulties. I know our main man here, producer Colson, was trying to get him on there, but it didn't look like we were going to have any luck there.
Big week for the Pats, though. Don't forget they're in PA tomorrow night, taking on the Saskatoon Blades up in the Bridge City on Wednesday, and then they're home to Moose Jaw Friday, in Moose Jaw on Saturday, and then on Holiday Monday, a 2 p.m. matinee against Swift Current.
I'm going to be at that game. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to that Monday game. I'm going to be at both, but
it's going to be intense playoff-style hockey because these points are absolutely critical.
Every single one counts. Well, and you can feel it. You can kind of feel the intensity when you go by the bench. You can kind of feel that, okay, we mean business. We need to get out every single W that we can. I'm looking forward to the games this weekend. I'm even going to have my mom come in from Manitoba to come see me at a game. So
that's awesome.
It's not about me or my performance whatsoever. Let me make that absolutely incredibly clear. I'm just on a microphone handing away prizes and having fun. It's more about the team. But I am looking forward to having some family there. I think it's going to be a blast.
So we've already got Mr. Croft coming in with chili. What's Tegan's mom bringing us? That's the question.
Probably Nanaimo.
Nanaimo bars.
Mm-hmm. Kind of her specialty.
Don't fault you for that.
Well, with that, I am being told that it's time to skedaddle here, guys. We appreciate you coming along for the ride. It was messy. It was fun. It was a great time. Go back, listen to all the conversations that we had with our guests on the Sportscage podcast, wherever you happen to get your podcasts. Appreciate you joining us for the Monday edition of the Sportscage. Barty back in tomorrow through Friday. Thanks for coming along for the ride. On behalf of Colson, myself, Dave Thomas, good night from the Century Studio on the corner of 12th and Rose.
You know, when you talk to folks who own a tri-haul self-unloading bale mover, you hear the same thing again and again.
Once you have one, you never want to be without one.
And this one made us all smile.
In the fall, it felt like all I did was haul bales. Now I go fishing.
That's the Tri-Haul difference. Order now and get free delivery up to 500 kilometers. Visit TriHaulBaleMovers.com or call 1-800-505-9208.
Debt can take over your life. The stress, the constant worry, it can feel like you're drowning. When people come to see me, they're often anxious and feeling hopeless. But when I explain how I can help them